Hello, everybody, and welcome back to an episode of Kaiju Weekly, the weekly kaiju podcast covering the wide world of kaiju movie news. I'm your host again, somehow, Elijah. Joining me, as always, my lovely co-host, Danny.
What is up? I am the lovely co-host, apparently.
And we have a special guest today. We have Mr. Grattan from Giant Monster BS.
As always, returning by popular demand, I'm back for good this time.
Back, even though you never were here the first time, but you're back. You are back.
Sort of like Back to the Future.
I like that.
Which means that there's a high possibility that a second Grattan is going to pop into the stream behind you and like push you out of the chair to like mess up the space-time continuum. It could happen.
It could happen.
Weirder things, and I'm not exaggerating, weirder things have happened on Kaiju Weekly streams in the past.
I'm trying to think of what.
Yes.
Oh, there is one that's really funny that I will never tell you guys because then everybody will go back and look for that.
Yeah, we don't want to actually. No.
There's been some funny stuff, but I've kept it. I've never told anybody because if somebody went back and watched some stuff, they would see funny things occasionally. And
great
you've got a little deformed guy in a basket, like that movie.
Are we talking about basket case?
Yeah. Yeah, you've got a little basket case brother in there. He's been screaming and knocking down your toys and stuff.
Yeah, I have a no surgically removed twin brother in a basket rule as part of my my lease for this apartment. So I can't. I do have a critter from Critters over there though, but that's about as good as I can do you.
All right.
I literally do have a critter. I do. I'm not getting it. Oh, I'm wearing a Back to the Future.
And you are.
I just realized.
What?
Well, it's not quite. It's
back to the ramen
because I'm
flash you quick enough. Nobody will know the difference.
Speaking of Kaiju Ramen, it wouldn't be a Kaiju Ramen stream without saying hello to the chat, and we've got Kaiju Kim in the chat, and here we are.
Come on, we gotta do it.
So we've got Miss Kaiju Kim in the chat. We've got Adrian in the chat. Hello, Adrian.
What is up, dude?
We got Angus Palmer. We can all agree that Danny is lovely.
Yes,
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
Angus. Quite. Oh, Angus, you stop that. Oh, Angus.
Michael says nobody puts baby in a basket. I think he's talking about himself there. Yes, Michael. Nobody puts you in a basket.
Very clever.
Dang.
Yes, quite. Gamera Sith, hello. And then let's see, we've got Mr. Robert Montserrat in the chat. Hello, Robert.
Mr. Montserrat, Mr. Bobbert, if that is your real name. How's it going, sir? What is that?
And with that, I mean, we're back at it again here. Another lovely week of kaiju goodness, and I think we're ready to dive right into the insanity that was this week for Kaiju Weekly. So on our docket today, our top story is none other than the Monarch Legacy of Monsters reveals.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. This was rather unorthodox because a few hours before the official news came out, we had the image in the upper left-hand corner there, the Godzilla roaring above the school bus image. For people who are listening to the audio version of this later, this image is out there on the web. You can find it pretty easily. It was leaked, and there was some rather heated debate on a format that I am affectionately, not a format, a platform that I've been affectionately referring to as the artist formerly known as Twitter, where people thought this was fake. A couple people thought this was fake. No, it's not fake. The fact that this came out around the same time that Apple started doing cryptic social media teases was pretty much a tip off that this was just released early. And sure enough, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. It has been discussed. There have been a lot of rumors swirling around about this thing, but here it is, the first live action MonsterVerse show, our first look at it. And we got some great pictures in here.
We do. And in the chat now we've got Oscar. Hello,
Hey,
Oscar.
Oscar.
We got Wet Jeffrey, still wet, still here.
Yes, he is the wettest amongst us.
Jeffrey.
Celeste Lopez. And then Yamra Sith hopped in here and said, looks interesting and always up for Kurt Russell. And that is, we got our first reveal at Kurt Russell playing the character of Lee Shaw, and his son Wyatt Russell playing the same character at different periods in time.
What a cool idea.
I actually really like it. I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah, I'm glad they went with that. I'm always down for some Kurt Russell. Always.
And then our fourth still we have here is of our main character Kiko, played by Miss Mari Yamamoto. Which, okay, so I just have to say, I'm really happy we're having the main character. Like, I miss having the Japanese connections to Godzilla. So having, Japanese actresses, and I think there's a few Japanese actors being prolific in this, just, that's closer to home than we've had in a while, which is really nice for me, at least.
Absolutely.
So, okay, I've heard a lot of people bring up the Godzilla and its rendering, and I'm curious what you guys have to say on how Godzilla looks in this. It's obviously the 2014 design, which I think we can all say it's kind of nice to see that one. I think the Doherty version is good. I actually prefer it, but it's still nice to see this old design back again.
Go for it, Gretton.
Yeah, I kind of like the I kind of prefer the 2014 design, especially for the look of that movie. It really kind of lent itself to that. I think this still looks fine. It looks like it's maybe from the Golden Gate Bridge scene or somewhere around there in the movie.
Same school bus.
Which is yeah. And hopefully we'll see the return of that seagull that slams into the window. But yeah, I think it looks actually pretty good for a TV show. I kind of just figured I don't know what I figured, but it just when I hear about like TV show adaptations or whatever, big movie IPs, I think watered down and cheaper looking, and so far this doesn't look like that, which has surprised me, but that's really the only thing I have to contribute.
Okay. Danny, what do you think?
I'm happy to see 2014 back. I will always have a soft spot for how that design made me feel in 2013 and 14 as I was following the progress of this movie. The moment where that one poster finally revealed his face, and all the glimpses that we got in the marketing and his back and the poster, like the anticipation to see this exact face 9 years ago for me was about as hyped as I'd ever been for a movie at that point in my life back then. I can't believe it was 9 years ago. That's bonkers. And to this day, I have a soft spot for this look. I think it was a really great update. And I mean, I don't, it's him. There he is. I mean, there's not much else to say about it, I suppose. I've been seeing a lot of people online trying to like nitpick aspects of it. And I have to admit, I don't, two things. One, I don't know what they're talking about. And two, I don't care. Like, I'm just happy to see this dude. I mean, look at him. This also plays into an aspect of this show that I think is really interesting. We're just talking about Back to the Future. I love movies or later expansions of previous movies that go back into scenes and moments we're familiar with and play around from a different perspective, like Back to the Future Part 2. There was talk years ago of doing a Cloverfield sequel that did that. same night, different person with a camera, same events, and what they went through. I love that kind of stuff. Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019 kind of did that a little bit in the prologue, where you see the 2014 attack. Again, ever so briefly and in slow-mo, but it's there. But being back on the bridge in this moment is really, really cool. I think the bridge moment is a standout set piece from the film. I love all the like, it just feels right. It's given me the Gareth Edwards vibes, and I like that a lot. So I'm jazzed. I'm jazzed to see what this show is going to be, what the show's going to be like. And I love this shot. You can't go wrong with a shot of Godzilla roaring at you. It's just not possible. It's just cool.
This is very true. I'm going to go ahead and take off the stills for now while we continue this discussion. So I do want to jump in here and get our comments up to date. We have Robert saying, Kurt Russell, so are we getting Godzilla versus the Thing? We could be getting a thing. Maybe not that thing, but maybe another thing, and not the other thing that you're thinking of. Not that thing.
No, different thing.
A different thing.
Different thing.
And it's not the other thing, because the other thing is from a different company.
No.
So-
You're thinking of a different thing, not the thing, the other thing.
Right.
You're getting
right.
confused with the other thing.
Yeah, you're getting
Come on.
we possibly could be getting Godzilla and the Thing. That thing, not the other thing, or the thing that's owned by the other company.
It's like it's Godzilla versus the Thing, not Godzilla versus the Thing.
Yeah.
And definitely not Godzilla versus the Thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right,
it's
right.
Okay.
Godzilla versus the Things.
Oh no!
Oh. There you go. Godzilla
That's
versus Things.
Dr. Seuss and Dr. Sarazawa teaming up. I want to see it. I want to see it happen. I don't know if I want to see that happen. No, you know what? Never mind. Screw it. I want to see that happen. I'm in. Anyway, good joke, Robert. Next comment.
I was trying to think of a pun.
Oh man, there's only so far we can go before they start giving up on us. It's true.
And then we've got Celeste Lopez saying, if he dealt with the Thing, he'll do great with Godzilla. Sorry, my mic. I need to move my mic.
You do. It's like
I
right
do.
in your face.
It's right in my face.
It
So
is.
yeah, I honestly, I think that's my biggest selling point is Kurt Russell for this. I historically have went on record complaining about the MonsterVerse, contrary to popular understanding. I may not like the MonsterVerse, and I may hate a certain movie called Godzilla versus Kong, but honestly, seeing Kurt Russell in one of these projects is really like awesome for me. He's one of those actors I'd watch anything he's in. The only other actors I can think of I'd watch anything that's Sigourney Weaver. I'd watch anything that's Arnold Schwarzenegger. And Kurt Russell, and I think that's it. So I'm excited to see this. I don't know if I'm going to subscribe to Apple Plus TV just to watch it. I may hold out hope that we would get a Blu-ray, but you know, I'm being corrected. However, you mispronounced Snake Plissken when you said Snake Plissken. I'm sorry. I understand, but wrong. I will refer to Snake Plissken as Snake Plissken going on. We also have Jose in the chat.
Hey.
Hello. Oscar chimed in here, Danny, when you were talking about seeing the 2014 design for the first time, saying that first teaser trailer for 2014, seeing him rise from the destroyed buildings and roaring at the end, still and will always give me goosebumps. I remember that when it was leaked in 2012 at Comic-Con.
Oh yeah.
So
I still have that saved on my old laptop.
I do too. I remember. So I remember when that leaked, and I want to say I saw it on a Saturday, and like I was freaking out. I was just like the happiest person alive when that came out.
Oh yeah.
That teaser's arguably better than any of the movies we've gotten since then.
I agree. Honestly, I wish we could have seen that movie. Like that movie looks horrifying and awesome. And honestly, I said this Some people don't see it, but I kind of see it. The trailer for Godzilla Minus One has a lot of the same vibes that
Oh,
that
100%.
2012 teaser. I'm not saying that Minus One was inspired by that teaser,
No,
right?
I think they're tapping into a similar mood
Yes.
because the teaser was not even really a teaser. It was more of a proof of concept mood piece. And so that they were really going for mood when the 2013 or 2012, that Comic-Con trailer came out, again, quote unquote trailer. Uh,
Mhm.
and it did pretty much the same thing that the Minus One trailer did, where it was less about telling you what's going on and more about establishing a mood. And I guess if you want to go there, like what you could expect from the movie. The problem with 2014 is that the film itself is not at all like that teaser in any way. I mean, there are some shared visual similarities. The design didn't change much, or if at all, but they were very like that trailer clearly set up an expectation of what the character was going to be like. Bless you. Of what the character was going to be like, the mood, everything, and none of that was in the film. But of course, that was a mood piece. It wasn't really a trailer it wasn't a trailer or a teaser at all. It was just to establish the mood. Um, so I think Minus One is going to be a little different in that regard. I think
Right.
that's what I think at least. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. I am not an expectation person. I'm just excited to see the movie. Bring it on.
And speaking of exciting, Celeste says that Kurt Russell has seen everything. And I mean, yeah, he's seen outer space, he's seen the future, he's seen things, he's seen kaiju now. I mean, what hasn't he seen at this point?
I very little. God, I can't think of a single thing. I mean, this dude's career is crazy. He's fought aliens, he's seen aliens, he's been an alien. Uh he as a kid, he's in an episode of Lost in Space when he was like
Right.
10 or 11 or something. I mean,
And
he's
then
been around.
he
He's been
played
around.
Elvis.
This is true.
He met Elvis
He met Elvis
as a child.
He's seen everything. It's true. It's true.
He met a girl in Missouri and gave birth to a superhero.
It's true. That was when he was an alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
There's
might have
good
been an
taste in
alien at the
music.
end of the thing,
we don't.
depending
it's
on who
true.
you ask.
That's still up for debate. A lot of people kind of up for debate. There's apparently a definitive answer out there to some degree, but who knows?
He had Big Trouble in Little China.
He
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
He did have Big Trouble, and it was in fact in Little China. It's true. You know, I think the saying that he's seen everything, I think that's accurate.
I think so.
I think that's accurate.
Going back here to the trailer, Danny, what you were saying, Helmy, which first chat, hello, Helmy.
What's up, Helmy?
He said that Halo Jump was so chilling in the trailer, that music. Yeah, the
2001 music.
And that was before I'd actually seen the movie. So watching 2001 A Space Odyssey was kind of a weird experience because I was like, I mean, it's a weird experience in general. Like, I guess that was kind of a stupid comment, but
no. I know what you mean, though. I'd seen 2001 beforehand, but I couldn't quite place why the music was so familiar to me until I realized, oh my gosh, that's the Monolith music. You know what's really surreal? A few weeks ago, when I saw the Barbie movie, and a little bit of that music is in the beginning because the beginning is a Kubrick homage. Like, this is too much for my brain. It's Barbie and 2001 and Godzilla all at once. But ouch,
that's
my brain.
A Barbie world. That is a Barbie world.
Life in plastic. It's fantastic.
Wait, does that mean Godzilla figures would attack the Barbie world? Because Life in Plastic?
It's fantastic. People are leaving this stream. Listen, Godzilla in the sequel.
Barbie versus Godzilla. Yeah.
I would watch it. I would watch that film.
So speaking of Godzilla in the sequel, so we did get a synopsis. I mean, we already knew a little bit about this, but in the report that Variety had, there is a synopsis, and I'll go ahead and read that out here. Monarch is set in the same universe as the films Godzilla 2014, Kong, Skull Island 2017, Godzilla, King of the Monsters 2019, Godzilla vs. Kong 2021, and the upcoming sequel Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. Spanning 3 generations, the series following the thunderous battle between Godzilla and the Titans that leveled San Francisco, and tracks 2 siblings following in their father's footsteps to uncover their family's connection to the secretive organization known as Monarch. Clues lead them into the world of monsters and ultimately down the rabbit hole to the Army officer Lee Shaw, played by Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell, taking place in the 1950s and half a century later, where Monarch is threatened by what Shaw knows.
Intriguing.
So, to me, that says, okay. So what I can tell is this show does sound like it is not necessarily a Godzilla show, right?
Right.
No, yeah, I would say so.
And I think that's something that might end up disappointing a lot of people, because that doesn't sound like a Godzilla show. That sounds like Godzilla's in it, but it's not his show, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think people, this show is always going to, it was never going to be however many episodes. Do we know how many episodes it is? We know,
It's
right?
10. It's
10.
10
Thanks.
episodes
That's
coming in fall of 2023 on Apple
Yes.
TV Plus.
So it's not going
I
to be
could have told you
10.
that.
See, I forgot how, I knew it was coming in the fall. I couldn't remember if it was 8 or 10 episodes. My brain is mush at this point. This show is never going to be 10 straight episodes of Godzilla punching things, because no Godzilla anything is Godzilla punching things for the entire runtime, unless you start getting into some weird territory. There are no Godzilla movies where you have an hour and a half of punching. You want to talk about weird TV show specials and manga? Yeah, let's talk about that. But that's just not how it works. So this was always going to be human focused. It's called Monarch. It's not called Godzilla. It's called Monarch. And it's going to be from their perspective, and Godzilla is going to be a part of that. And Godzilla, if I have to venture a guess, and I don't usually like doing this, I like to see what shows do before I see them, and when I see them rather, and just not make any assumptions before I go in. But my assumption is the beginning or part of the first episode will be establishing the characters in 2014. We're going to get some flashbacks. We're going to see Godzilla do his bridge thing. And then Godzilla's probably not going to factor heavily into the next handful of episodes. We're going to see other monsters, I would imagine. There's confirmation that other creatures are going to appear. No clue what those will be. Don't get your hopes up that they'll be Toho licensed. I will say that. Don't get your hopes up. Because for anybody who does not know, all of those characters, all those Toho characters have their own individual licenses. And that means Legendary has to pay for the use of each one. So the fact that Godzilla is in it at all is that's pretty cool in and of itself. So don't go in there expecting Ghidorah and Mothra and Rodan, or the giant condor to show up or something. Although that would be cool. I'd be down with the giant condor, but I would not count on it. Probably just be Godzilla, and if he's in every episode, I would be shocked. If he's in the episodes that he's in for a long time, like a lot of screen time, I would also be shocked. So do not go in expecting this thing to read your mind and give you, nothing but Godzilla from beginning to end, because then it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I'm interested to see what the human story is going to do. It's going to be interesting. The MonsterVerse does love its familial drama. I will say that. They like doing that. But I think the time jump aspect is going to really play in. Where do you come down on all this, Grattan?
I would, I thought very similarly kind of before we saw these pictures. I figured that it would be a show where the monsters, especially the big ones, would maybe not be present. Sort of like I remember when that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever, that show was running. I kind of expected something like that, where we live in a world where superheroes exist, but they're nowhere. They're like, obviously Iron Man's not going to show up and fight somebody. Mm-hmm. But I think, I don't know, I kind of think that there might be more monster stuff or more Godzilla stuff than we're giving it credit for, because like it is Monarch, but you know, that kind of means Godzilla. I mean, they're selling the show with the idea of like this is a show in the Godzilla universe. So I'd be surprised if it took the backseat as much as I was expecting it would. But I don't know, especially looking at the quality of the stills, I think we might see a little more Godzilla than I expected at first. But yeah, I look forward to Googling Monarch season 1 free online when this comes out, so I don't have to get an Apple TV subscription.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Oh man.
Speaking of people who might be getting an Apple TV subscription, we do have some comments here in the chat. We have Kaiju Kim saying, as soon as the show was announced, however long ago that was, I knew it wasn't going to be a Godzilla show. No surprise there.
There you go.
So Kim's kind of that opinion. Oscar Soles is saying, as long as the story is done well, I'm happy. Also, I do hope and pray they don't kill him off in the Monsterverse. And I'm gonna guess they're talking. Or Oscar, are you talking about Kurt Russell?
He's either talking about Kurt Russell or he's talking about Godzilla in general moving forward because of rights issues.
Right.
There has been fan. I'm going to put an emphasis on the word fan talk that Godzilla will at some point by necessity have to exit the universe because of licensing. And that other original characters or other licensed characters, Kong most prominently, will lead the universe going forward. But as of right now, that's not happening. Godzilla's sticking around. He's going to be in a movie next year at Legendary. The show is like it's fine. He's not going anywhere.
How funny would it be if Kurt Russell was one of those guys in the Muto attack who dies at the same time that Bryan Cranston dies?
Oh, that's funny.
Like 20 minutes into episode 1, he's gone. You know,
and then it's just all
from then on.
flashback.
Yeah.
I would
No.
I would actually be fine with that just because of how insane it would make people. Like it was people, how could like they would be like them acknowledging the criticism of the Bryan Cranston thing, which I never really got it, but I know a lot of people didn't like that he died. But that would be funny if they did that. Like he just died in episode 1.
Immediately.
It's just
exactly
instant.
Like Bryan Cranston.
Oh my gosh, that would be cruel and hilarious at the same time.
What if they did it so like however many minutes into 2014, like they matched it to the exact second in the movie of like how long it would take, like if it's the first 5 minutes of episode 2, like it's just the first scenes, like his character just getting trampled by a
you can play the show and the movie at the same time, and they sync up when the characters die.
Oh,
they zip up the body bags at the same time.
Oh, that's funny. That's great.
All right,
Oscar said yes to Russell.
Yes, I'm 100% on board with this now. I think that needs to happen. It's like, oh man, that would. If I wish studios were that brave. You know what I mean? Like they would never do it, but wouldn't that be funny? Oh,
that's
man.
fan service. That's the fan service I've been asking for years.
Oh man. Speaking of, got some comments first.
So Celeste Lopez said that if Kurt Russell dies early, like Bryan Cranston, they'll riot. I mean, I feel like there's a back and forth. And to kind of echo what Oscar was saying, what Jeffrey says, if they can craft a compelling human story, I'm all the way in. And I think that's what a lot of. So this is the difficult thing, and this will kind of lead into our little discourse here, I think, because this is the biggest discussion at this point in the Monsterverse. This sounds like it's going to be an exploration of what Monarch has done. not necessarily monsters, because the way I look at it, like Shield doesn't just deal with superheroes. Like, if we're going based off of what Grattan compared it to, which I think is a great comparison. Monarch can't just do giant monsters, right? Like that wouldn't work.
Mhm.
They probably are the ones that go and investigate like Bigfoot and like these weird small occurrences. I wouldn't be surprised if they went to like Chernobyl and ensured that there was no like radioactive like goo creating Ninja Turtles or something.
It's
Um,
Totopoulos. Sorry. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all.
yeah, you're never sorry, Danny. You know
I'm never
this.
sorry. Giant earthworms in the MonsterVerse. Anyway, you were saying. I'm sorry.
And that's something that like Oscars brought up in what Jeffrey continued with, that gives us presumably humans on a solid ramp up to understanding what it's like to live in a world with Godzilla as a going concern, stuff like that. But then you also have the other idea of what N. Conway, which, hello, N. Conway, it's great to see you,
Hey.
said. I always liked Kevin Smith's idea of a human-free MonsterVerse movie focusing on the Titans, which is, the kind of the double-edged sword. Like, yes, people want human characters in a human story, but people also want giant monsters, right?
Mhm.
And that's such a hard thing, I think, to figure out how to like do an exact 50-50 in terms of whatever the narrative is, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily 50-50 on screen time, but
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
balancing it in the script and in that story, right? So I feel like that might set up this to kind of fail for a lot of the people who may have liked stuff like King of the Monsters or GVK that wanted to focus more on the monsters, because this is called Monarch Legacy of Monsters. It's talking about the legacy, not like Godzilla and the Titans, which was the title so many people were calling it. And that sounds like it would be something filled with monsters, because it's headlining Godzilla and the Titans. But this is talking about legacy, and we already know there's going to be flashbacks, right? So
Mhm.
I could see this potentially leading to a film that's more based on world building or world establishing, because of some of the characters in this that we can bring up. um Maybe they're just establishing the questions we have for this universe, kind of answering a lot of those, like what happened to the USS Lawton, and when did we like first like Skull Island, and the I mean, this isn't even the first time that our character of Lee Shaw appeared in the Monsterverse, so potentially we could be covering all of that unturned ground that people have been interested in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm always down for more world building, and I like the I feel like we're going to spend a lot more time in the past than just a few flashbacks, because that's the other thing we haven't talked about, is the fact that we're getting young Bill Randa in this,
Yes.
which is really cool, and then we're getting some descendants as well. So there will be multiple Randas throughout this, and that's John Goodman's character from Skull Island, for anybody who if that name doesn't ring a bell. But yeah, it's gonna be cool. I feel like it's. I wonder if we're gonna get any other comic characters as well. I wonder if that'd be cool.
I've been thinking about that, because
Yeah.
that's, and I've been curious, are we going to get like the Shimura? Oscar brought up Muto Prime. Like, will we
Oh
get that?
yeah.
Because that was following the events of 2014, which will be kind of in that time period. Or maybe that's why Godzilla's not in the show. Maybe the events of Aftershock are occurring during the events of, you know, this show. We don't know exactly. We know it takes place after 2014 and in the 1950s, but we don't know when. There's a 5-year gap that, they could cover.
And you mentioned something about like them dealing with smaller creatures, not necessarily titans, but this plays into something that's been in the back of my head for years now, and I am not saying that this is where they're going to do this or if they'll ever do this, but thinking in my like this is just how my brain works because I love classic monster films. I love 1950s monster films. If they could work some of their cool, kooky license magic that they did for Kong to get him into the universe, which involved Universal and Warner Brothers and all this stuff, Warner Brothers has a pretty cool back catalog of pre-existing creature features that they could pull from. Imagine putting the giant ants from them into
They
the
could.
Monsterverse. Imagine the giant behemoth or the black scorpion in the Monsterverse. Those are Warner Brothers films. They would change. They'd have to change it, but they could, in theory, they have a back catalog of classic creatures that they could use. Would
Right.
they? They don't have a lot of marquee value outside of like hardcore monster fans. Like if you're like, yay, the black scorpion is coming to the Monsterverse, like 4 people are going to be like, I know what that is, and I'm going to be one of those 4 people, and you 2 are going to be the other 2 of the 3 remaining ones.
75% of the
75
the people who
Yeah.
know what that is.
That's right, but it would be cool, and they wouldn't have to pay anyone for it. And they
Well-
are remaking them, but that has nothing to do with Monsterverse, obviously.
You are right, but Danny, there is one unfortunate thing you forgot to think about. Warner's not attached to this whatsoever.
This is true. Which is why I'm saying it wouldn't be in a project like this.
But that would be cool. Like seeing like
Yeah.
like maybe in the flashbacks there's like note papers like on his desk and it's got like pictures of like giant ants and giant scorpions and
giants.
and what else? Like giant
gosh.
Gila monsters, maybe giant shrews, maybe.
Killer shrews, robot monster.
50-foot woman.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe some giant tomatoes that were growing in somebody's backyard with killer frogs.
Iguanas with rubber frills glued to their necks. Yes. Can we get that? Can we get Warner Brothers? Warner Brothers made that really cheesy Lost World remake, the Irwin Allen one, where all the dinosaurs were caimans and monitor lizards.
Maybe there's a report about how some people in Texas wrangled a T-Rex that they found.
Ooh, maybe. Can we get Robot Monster in here somewhere? Is that possible? Can we get Roman?
Spaceship landed, and there was a giant robot and a monkey with a diving suit on it, and I mean, anything's possible.
It is. Anything's possible when it comes to cinematic universes.
I like this idea. Legendary should hire us. We would make the best show ever.
Call us, Legendary. Call us.
All it would cost $1 million.
No, we're not going to come cheap, Legendary. Clearly,
with our knowledge and our expertise in understanding the genre, we would give you the best content ever.
It's true.
I'll do it pro bono, but all of my ideas are going to cost millions and millions of dollars in legal fees. So
each idea is worth has its own price tag.
Yeah, my idea is like Batman this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put Batman for this episode.
Oh man,
I'll work on it. Just you get Batman, and I'll take care of the rest.
I'm gonna leave you with the hard legal problems of getting the whole Batman thing involved. And,
right? Yeah.
But once you do, I got this, and I will be worth the money. I'm just saying.
I'll be worth all the money you spent on getting the character.
That's true.
Mhm.
It's true. Most of it, maybe.
Hello, Brendan. What's up?
Hey, what's up, dude?
So jumping here, I'm kind of going all over our comments section here, but Oscar said, "Ooh, the Black Scorpion and them, very cool." And Danny, the Black Scorpion has monsters that aren't Black Scorpions.
Yes, it does. It's got a weird kind of wormy centipede-looking dude, a giant tick. It's got some good stuff in it. I'd love to see the giant behemoth. I have a soft spot for the giant behemoth. Nobody ever talks about the giant behemoth. I love the giant behemoth. So cool. Giant behemoth. Oh man.
And
Ooh.
Robert says that Danny, while having giant ants, well, I'm saying this, and then I'm gonna say what Robert says.
Yes.
While having giant ants, and that would be really cool. Robert has brought up that there are already giant ants in Skull Island, so them is canon as far as he's concerned.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
And
I was gonna do the quote, but then I realized I shouldn't do that, so I'm not gonna do the quote. But y'all know what quote I'm talking about.
it was the
I'm not-
first time that a F-bomb was used in the Monsterverse, and
It's
I
true.
think the only time.
Twice.
Twice?
King of the Monsters when Ghidorah wakes up. It
Oh,
was a-
that's
It was
right.
it was a The Thing callback too. It had to be.
All three heads say it at one time.
I'll never forget that moment. I was like, "This is a risky idea having Ghidorah talk in the film, but it works.
It
It
paid
works.
off. It was a big gamble, and it paid off big time.
It paid off. They got Monster Island buddies to do the voice, and it was actually pretty outstanding. I will give them that. I will give them that.
And then Gamera Sif says, "Let it be Ultra Q for us." I would love that.
Yes.
An Ultra
Yes.
Q.
I do kind of think it might. I don't think it's going to be like a modern version of Ultra Q, but it might end up having more similarities to that than not. I don't know. I just feel like they might do something like that. Just monster centric conflict in every episode might end up being the formula. I could be completely wrong.
Monster of the Week. Yeah. That could be cool. That could be cool. I miss shows like that. A lot of shows don't do that anymore because most shows are, designed to be binged as one long story as opposed to being episodic these days.
Mhm.
So I like the self-contained story of a Monster of the Week type of tale, and any comparison to Ultra Q is good by me. I'm in love with Ultra Q. I love that show so much. So that'd be cool. It's a good idea.
The Monarch show is going to be kind of towing a line, I think, because I don't know. It just, the Monsterverse itself already seems like something that nobody can really fully commit to. It's so wishy-washy, and every entry is so different. And this seems like a move to build up the IP, as something more than the monsters. But also it's an IP that's completely entangled with its relationship to Godzilla and King Kong at this point. So,
Right.
I think if they're trying to build like a strong cast of characters, they might risk killing any interest if they don't place enough emphasis on the monsters, and vice versa. It could not pay off if they spent too much money on monsters. I don't know. It's just, I'm interested to see which way it goes, but I'm also kind of nervous because I don't know. They haven't done a good job of building any kind of strong story continuity or visual continuity the way that like Marvel did. That all felt pretty cohesive early on, and the Monsterverse never really felt like that, but they also haven't really tried, I don't think.
Yeah, I kind of I think a lot of that is, and I know that we got to stay a little on the positive side here, but like if we're gonna be honest here, from the get go, they kind of messed that up with Awakening in 2014, because if we go off of Awakening, Serizawa's like 95 and he's still like running after Ghidorah.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good for his age. He's standing, which is nice. It's incredibly impressive. He's like 1,000. He'd be 1,000 years if he was a baby when the Hiroshima bomb went off. Then, yeah, he'd be in his legitimately in his 70s or early 80s or something like that.
In 2014, right?
Yeah, in 2014 he'd be in his 70s.
And then you would have 5 years later, so by King of the Monsters, he's like 80, and he's lugging a nuclear weapon upstairs.
Oops. Maybe I don't know, man. Like I don't quite get it, but it's fine. It's okay. That comic. That comic,
So
man.
yeah, I definitely agree with what Gretton's saying because when Marvel first started, and I don't know if it's necessarily fair to compare Marvel because that was like a pre-established shared universe
Mhm.
to something trying to be like I mean, its own universe, so to speak. But I think it is fair as well because I mean, if you look at I mean, at that time, Marvel was working with Paramount and Universal to create a universe
Mhm.
together, right? Because the Incredible Hulk was Universal and all the others at the time were Paramount. And you can see that there is and Disney started to come in for Iron Man 2. So by 2010 you had 3 companies working in a way working together on this universe. But what Kevin Feige like masterfully did was found a way to make it so everything was legible in viewing. What Danny, you're amazing with English. What would be the legible like synonym when talking about watching
Cinematically cohesive.
cinematically cohesive? There we go. And like when you watch Iron Man, now I think something I will say is if you watch Iron Man and then you watch something like say Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, they don't look the same. It's
Mhm.
obvious. But that development you can watch in the show in the series. You can see where it started with the gritty Iron Man and it gradually getting more and more computer generated.
Mhm.
And now you're at a point where it all looks very much the same, but it is obvious that that change is obvious, but it was a gradual change. And I at the top of this main topic, Danny, you brought up how King of the Monsters utilized some of this footage from 2014 and also like had some alternative takes on the events of 2014, right? And what is kind of interesting is it looks really different, right? Between the framing and the color, like the color uh scheme and the editing and the particle effects, like all of it, and the lighting, it's completely different. It's a very different movie. And it's very obvious in the opening to King of the Monsters when you look at 2014 and then, jump right into King of the Monsters.
It's true.
So I definitely agree with Grattan on that. And I mean, I hope this does well. I hope that this is a successful show. But it is also a little late in the game, I would say, potentially, for trying to create reestablish this world when a film like Godzilla versus Kong kind of throws out everything that was being established, right? Because I would argue Wingard kind of ignored everything Doherty set up in those post credits.
Mm.
Personally,
Yeah, maybe
um,
potentially.
but it's one of those things where Doherty had like this whole like map of like the world and the history books and a Bible of like what happened in the MonsterVerse and like he did so much world building, but now he's like not involved at all. Besides walking on set maybe for 2 days on a movie.
Yeah, basically. Which is the unfortunate side effect of having a different strong creative voice come in for every one of your movies, which in some ways is I think in most ways is actually a good thing and beneficial because it definitely keeps the films from falling into the homogenized Marvel mold where every Marvel movie it's kind of like it's kind of like McDonald's, right? Because if you go to a McDonald's on one end of the country, you kind of have this expectation in your head that a McDonald's in California is going to taste like a McDonald's in Maine, is going to taste like one in Texas, is going to taste like one in Michigan, is going to taste like one in Montana, and so on ad infinitum. It's the same thing with Marvel. At this point, they've got the homogenized formula down so well that you can tell that you kind of know what to expect when you walk in. And now, all these years later, it's starting to backfire on them a little bit, and people are starting to be able to pick things out. They're starting to know what's coming, and there are some people that are still into it, and some people that are getting bored with it. But the MonsterVerse, yes, the MonsterVerse you can't really compare the two, because in terms of sheer volume of content, there's no comparison. Obviously, the MCU has years, and I mean, we're talking about a universe that's still in single digits in terms of its films. The MonsterVerse doesn't have that much, so comparing them isn't really fair. But one thing I'll say is that each MonsterVerse film very clearly feels like its own thing. It has its own directorial language, its own visual language and style. They build a little off each other in some ways, but a Doherty feels different than a Roberts, feels different than a Wingard, feels different than an Edwards. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but the episodes of the show are, with a few exceptions, being directed by multiple directors. Yes, I know that news about that came out a while ago. Oh, so and so is directing episode 1 and 3. Someone is directing episode.
That's
so
normally how
series...
it goes. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Which, again, if they'd gotten all 10 episodes directed by the same person, I would have been shocked. That just doesn't happen anymore. But the only reason I bring that up is because I'm curious to see if there are distinct visual idiosyncrasies, differences, unique elements in each episode that each director is bringing, or if the show itself will feel a little bit more homogenized, like its own singular project, and less like something. I'm going to keep it close to home here. Ultraman, for example, the original Ultraman, you can tell when you're watching episodes directed by Akio Jisoji. And anybody out there who's a fan of Ultraman and knows what the heck I'm talking about will know Akio Jisoji was a highly respected avant-garde filmmaker in the 60s. He worked right the way up until about 15 years ago or so. No, it's more recent than that, because he worked up until he passed. He was directing Ultraman stuff as late as 2007, I believe. Max was the last show he actively directed episodes for.
Right, yeah. And right before Max, he did a scene in 10 Nights of Dreams, the anthology horror movie.
Yes, which I'd completely forgotten about. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, so when you watch a Jisoji episode of Ultraman, suddenly it feels completely different. You're getting weird close-ups on people's eyes and mouths as they talk, and odd camera angles, odd use of the sound effects and the music. And so it's breaking things up. It's a concept episode. And this is actually on my mind because I literally just finished watching the Strange New Worlds episode where everybody starts singing and it turns into a musical. So I literally just finished that, and it was brilliant. And I have concept episodes on my mind right now. So I wouldn't count on seeing concept episodes in this show, but who knows what they might do in the future, because any little tweak to the formula, like you were saying before, could give other future Monarch shows, like seasons, spin-offs, other projects that they do, could give them a little bit, I don't know, like a little bit more of a unique visual style. It could keep people coming back. I don't know. We're in an interesting place right now because the possibilities are all laid out, and we won't know more until we see what's in store for us. There you go.
Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add?
I do want to defend my comparison to the MCU. I know obviously it's apples and oranges, but the reason that I think people who often compare whatever Star Wars or whatever DC, they go straight to the MCU because that's obviously the gold standard for making the world matter.
Mm-hmm.
As in the same way that a regular movie would just make characters matter. And I think now I just think that the people making the show have a lot to work on, or they have a lot to prove, because up until this point we haven't been dealing with a world that really matters. certain people, I mean, like we've all been saying, every movie feels different. So, you take a look at like, like The Mandalorian was pretty successful because that Star Wars is a pretty established world. I think people were ready to take a look at another part of it. And I'm just not certain that people have the same interest in seeing the MonsterVerse world yet. So, and obviously it's still possible they can do something. They can come out of left field with some really original idea and hook everybody. But I think that it is certainly a bigger task than diving into, the 1000th Star Wars show or whatever.
No, you're 100% right. 100% right.
Right. And honestly, I would almost say, and I agree with your comparison, Gretton, but I'd also say maybe the MonsterVerse kind of follows the DC universe a little closer with how they structured the establishment of characters, because for DC you had Man of Steel, and then you had Batman versus Superman, and then you had Justice League, right? You had 3 movies establishing most of your popular characters, and then they just said, well, here's the like crossover event, and then you're going to get all of the Shazams and the Blue Beetles and the Aquamans and the
Bankruptcy.
Flashes, right? And that's what happened, right? Like that's what happened. They had the biggest bombs of multiple years. And in a way, I think the MonsterVerse has done that as well, but they've been a little safer, because I mean, you had 2014 and then Skull Island, which was, establishing your main characters. And then King of the Monsters was kind of like that Justice League level of like, here's all the characters. And it didn't do well. It didn't do well because nobody knew what we were watching. I mean, we knew what we were watching. Everybody in our chat knows what we were watching, but your typical person was not like, oh, it's Ghidorah, it's Mothra, it's Rodan. Oh, the Oxygen Destroyer. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
They were like a 3-headed dragon from space. Very cool.
What are all these
Oh, that's-
Godzillas doing here?
Yeah.
Why there's so many Godzillas?
That Godzilla's got 3 heads. That's crazy. Oh, that's funny. But the thing I love about that movie is that Doherty treated it like everyone who saw it was going to be like, it's the Mothra music, which it was my reaction, admittedly. But of course it was going to be my reaction and everybody's reaction. Oh my gosh, it's Ghidorah. Oh my gosh, it's Mothra. Oh my gosh, it's Rodan. It's the music. They did the thing. It's the Oxygen Destroyer, like all that stuff. Like that was made for us, but it was,
Right.
but yeah, like it was designed. And I guess you could say the same thing about at least the earlier MCU stuff is, no, you know what? No, a lot of the MCU stuff, because when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, how many people in the general audience were like, dude, I've been waiting for Rocket Raccoon to make his big screen debut. There were a lot of people like that, but not as many as Iron Man.
Stan Lee had to be reminded about it.
Yeah.
When they were like working on it, he was like, what is this? And they were like,
He
well,
probably
we
had to
worked
be
on
reminded
this.
of a lot of stuff at that age.
I was gonna say, where's all the superheroes? Like, I don't know. What's this talking raccoon? I don't know.
Is my wife alive? Tell me she's still here.
Where's my insurer? I'm missing my Matlock marathon. I don't know. Sorry, Stan. we're not making fun. Okay, we're making fun of you a little, but it's all in good fun.
Pour one out for Stan Lee.
Pour one out. Pour one out for Stan. But it is that could, like, the MonsterVerse at that point in time. I can't believe it's been 4 years since King of the Monsters. Could have seized on that whole. Wow, like, the fans know who Ghidorah and Mothra and Rodan are, but now we have this chance to introduce these monsters to people and get them pumped for the next time they show up. And I think now, I mean, honestly, I think out of all of them, Mothra might have been the most effective of the bunch in terms of pop cultural insertion, presence, whatever you want to call it, to the point now where I think plenty of general audiences, if they were to say Mothra's going to be in the next MonsterVerse film, MonsterVerse 6, whatever, people would probably be like, she's back, like obviously the fans would be excited, some of them at least, but the Mothra hate is strong and unfortunate, my friends. But the general audiences might be on board with that a little bit more now that those characters are back. They came back in that film. The precedent has been set. So I don't know. This is all very tangential to the MonsterVerse show at this point, but
Right.
it is fascinating because this show does represent so much of an unknown direction for the MonsterVerse at this point. We're only just now starting to get the TV spinoffs. We had Skull Island a couple months ago, and now we've got this, and they're two very, very different things. Not just in terms of medium, but I'm guessing the tone is going to be different. I'm guessing a lot of things are going to be different. So I don't know. It could go any direction. We could get 1,000 seasons of this. It could die after one season. We don't know.
It could die after half a season.
Right.
It could. The other
style.
It could be Batgirl by the end.
It could be. I was
like
about
the week before.
It could be. They could release 5 episodes, and then the last 5 episodes will go in a vault, and then we'll have to launch a sting operation to go save them. It'll be 12 years of hashtagging the heck out of it, and finally they'll release it. But I think we can safely say that won't happen. Maybe. We'll find out.
We will see.
Now,
speaking of finding out, for anybody who's worried, don't fret. I did not forget, but I wanted to just simply get the top story out of the way so we could talk about the MonsterVerse news. Now, something that's special about the MonsterVerse is it brought back our favorite villain from the Godzilla franchise. It has 3 heads, and it shoots lightning.
Sure
and
does.
It makes a sound, and that sound came back. And Grattan, you're going to make that sound appear. You just have to say the magical term.
Cue. I forget the rest.
You're so close. You can do it. I believe in you.
Cue the BDB.
And now we're going to move on to the always filled movies and TV section. And so now I'm going to step aside and let our lovely news anchor, who is back from Tahiti after sipping on his drinks, give us the amazing rundown of the movies and television. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Movies and TV. I'm your host, Brick Tamlin, and the weather for today is hot. Very hot. My ice cream melted.
Oh, Brick.
My ice cream melted. On to the news. Kaiju Glam Shark Attack announced by SRS Cinema. The Thai monster movie, The 100, has been retitled Creepy Crawly and is set to be released on Blu-ray October 3rd in the United States. Raven Banner acquires worldwide rights to the Lovecraftian Greek monster movie, Minore. Hoshi 35's monster suit revealed in early stages of development. Pre-production is underway for Hot Spring Shark Attack. More BTS images from Midnight the Era. In the Lost Night, a new independent kaiju film coming from director Tanakanari Sato. The Meg 2, The Trench, surpasses $300 million at the international box office. The poster for Power Rangers Cosmic Fury has been revealed. David Yost's Billy Cranston will be returning for Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. The opening for Power Rangers Cosmic Fury has been revealed, and Power Rangers Cosmic Fury release date has been revealed for September 28th, 2023 on Netflix. Ultra 7 55th Anniversary Anthology Blu-ray from Mill Creek has been delayed to October 17th, 2023. Subaraya and Ultraman Blazar will be at Fan Expo in Canada August 24th through the 27th. Gamma Rebirth's marketing continues with behind-the-scenes featurettes with the development of Gaios. Gamma Rebirth reveals a new poster. Godzilla vs. Kong is being re-released on 4K in a brand new steelbook in October. Godzilla Minus One will be doing a collaboration with the baseball team Yomiuri Giants. As for YouTube releases this week, Godzilla Island continues with episode 47, Mothra's Tears, and episode 48, Morning Mothra. Ultraman Blazar continues with episode 6, The Invading Aurora, and the teaser for episode 7, Rainbow Appears Part 1, has been released. And finally, Volts V Legacy continues with episodes 71 through 75, leaving 5 more episodes of this series happening.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. So
Thanks,
how's the
Brick.
news?
It's very packed. You missed a lot, Elijah. You missed a lot.
I did.
I hope Brick had a good time, got a tan while he was away. We missed him. And man, that ice cream, that's just
I heard it. I heard
tragic.
it was melted.
Melted.
Kim said hashtag buy Rick ice cream. And if you guys just want to PayPal me that, I'll go buy him ice cream right now.
I'm
Just-
sure you
just-
will.
Elijah
If you wanna
Thomas,
grab your parents'
1975.
credit card and just buy him an ice cream. Just give us the numbers that are written on the card.
Don't forget the security number on the back and the associated zip code, please.
And
And
the PIN
thank-
number.
And the PIN number. If you could throw your social security numbers in there too, that would be swell.
We'll get
Yeah,
Rick
think
some
of those
ice
as like Easter eggs and post-credit scenes. You know,
cream.
the Easter egg is the security pin on the back, and post-credit scene is your social
It's
and your
true.
address, your home address.
So now that we are on to the movies and television section, we do have some lovely things to show off as well. And Grattan, since you are our guest, I'm going to let you go ahead and pick something from this long list, and we'll talk about it.
Nothing could have prepared me for how difficult this choice would be.
It's a struggle
Um,
every week.
So I will take Kaiju Glam Shark for 500.
Okay. All right. So, Grattan, do you want to give a rundown of what that is?
Yeah, well, it's basically a $4,000 goal directed by Brett Kelly, produced by Ron Bonk. I don't know if this is what you wanted me to do.
Go for it.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess I didn't do any preparation before this, so I'm sorry. I guess they're
You're
raising
fine.
money for it.
Yes, they're on Kickstarter and they're raising money for it. The goal is $4,000.
Actually, it's
Okay.
Indiegogo. It's
Is
not
it
Kickstarter.
Indiegogo?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
oops.
Yeah, sorry.
Oops.
It's all right.
So it's being directed by Brett Kelly, Conga TNT director, I guess.
Yeah, he directed Conga TNT.
And Raiders of the Lost Shark, you guys. Raiders of the Lost Shark.
And he's
It's
back.
brilliant. Back
So
again.
hide your kids, as they say. Produced by Ron Bonk,
Of
the man
Zillafoot
behind
fame.
Yes.
SRS, right?
Yes. Yep. He's the guy that runs it, and he produces all of their in-house films. He also directed a film called House Shark, which I own. Haven't watched it yet, but I do own it. And I've worked with him because I'm cool.
You are cool.
Danny, I feel like you've worked with him too.
I have worked with him too because I think I'm going to dare I say we have worked with him. Our paths have overlapped and crossed somewhat in terms of what we have worked with Ron, namely the hit film Zillafoot, in which you and I have, dare I say, leading A status roles. as stargazer and podcaster, respectively?
Star Fox. Star Fox? Fox.
You're
Fox.
Fox.
Stargazer number 1.
Foxtrot.
Skywatcher number 1, aka Fox.
Did I say
Rolls right off the
Stargazer?
tongue.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it has it's incredibly, that's why it was so memorable.
Yeah,
Clearly.
exactly. I have the script somewhere in my hard drive.
That's true. But yes, in case anybody out there was interested and or is looking for prime blackmail material, Elijah and I were in a kaiju film. The blackmail material applies more to me than to Elijah, who clearly put more effort into his scenes than was perhaps necessary for the quality the film ended up being.
Yeah,
but,
nobody told me that I could phone most of my opinions in and
no,
kinda move
you
on.
did great. You shot it well. You had a great panning shot with the camera. You had like props ready to go. And yeah, it was cool.
And other people stood in front of a green screen.
It's true.
But that's fine, you know. People
all
do
good.
people.
Zillafoot's a lot of fun. It's
It
one of the coolest things I've gotten to do as a fan. I still can't get over it. It's pretty awesome.
And speaking of a lot of fun, Grattan, do you want to read the plot synopsis we have for this film?
Yes, let me just put my reading glasses on here. Okay. So, an accident from space has resulted in the creation of a kaiju shark man. The wanton destruction has a pair of glam rock loving music fans worried that the concert they have been waiting their whole year for will be canceled. Will the world be destroyed? Will the glam metal concert go on? Kaiju Glam Metal Shark Attack is Godzilla meets Detroit Rock City meets Jaws. Featuring music from Gelatin Skeleton and directed by the creator of Jurassic Shark, Puppet Shark, and more.
And before we dive into this, hello, Donnie. It's great to see you. So, Grattan, why did you pick this?
So you guys mentioned working with Ron Bonk. I kind of worked with Ron Bonk in a way when I begged him publicly on Twitter for a few weeks to do a re-release of Howl from Beyond the Fog, and eventually he caved in. And I don't know if I actually had anything to do with that, but the timeline syncs up pretty well. But so yeah, I worked with him. I buy a lot of terrible SRS movies because I love doing that. Terrible in a good way.
Except for
they're all great.
The in-house productions.
Right.
And God right.
But yeah, that's why I picked it. I watched Zillafoot for the first time the other day. I bought it, I guess I pre-ordered that, and it was just the other day when I took the plastic wrap off and watched it. And that's usually the timeline I have with these SRS movies is I'll buy them and they'll sit brand new on my shelf for 2 or 3 years, and then I'll finally work up the courage to put it in my Blu-ray player, and hopefully it doesn't, catch on fire or put something irreversible onto my 4K player. But yeah, it's good to see the director of Conga TNT has not gotten a different job, and that they'll be back at it again, back in the director's chair. It's shaping up to be contender for best picture, best editing.
Keep
Best
going.
visual effects.
I don't mean to sound mean. I'm not trying to sound pessimistic.
No,
I do like the SRS movies, although I haven't watched any of their shark stuff yet. But this appears to be trying to bridge the gap between their shark genre and their kaiju genre, which are the only 2 pages that they have on their website.
That's true.
We're getting We're getting the fabled crossover here. Remains
This
to
was
be seen
fated
if
to
it'll work on me.
it was meant to be. Truly, it was meant to be. It had to happen eventually. I have at least 2 SRS shark Blu-rays on my. I am about to admit this publicly, and I'm gonna follow through with it on my bad
You
shark
have
movie DVD shelf. Yes, I have a collection of
I bet
just.
it's Can I guess it? Can I guess it?
Guess what? Which
The
movie it is?
the yeah.
Which one?
Is it bad CGI shark?
It is not bad CGI shark.
Is it Amityville Shark?
It's not Amityville Shark. There's so many.
Puppet shark?
It's not Puppet Shark.
Shark of the Corn.
It's not Shark of the Corn.
God. I
Stop
bet you
toying
have
with us, Danny.
I just want to hear you rattle off the name of every shark movie on the website live for the viewers.
No, I'm not. Here's the bad thing. I've watched so many SRS titles that I just know those off the top of my head. I don't need to go looking on their
Up the
website
dome.
because it's all in my head now.
Oh, that's
Puppet Shark?
it's not Puppet Shark. It's not Puppet Shark.
Okay, admittedly, after Puppet Shark, is it Raiders of the Lost Shark?
It is no, it's not Raiders of the Lost
Oh
Shark.
my God, what is it? House Shark? Did I already guess that one?
You did not, but it is also not House Shark. It is not. You know what's hilarious is I actually don't remember the name, so I'm looking it up right now. I'm just trying to take it.
You've just been lying to us.
This was all
You
a
used
scam.
Some name generator to come up with a shark movie that'll be out next year.
Honestly, that might be how this movie was made. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna beat him. I'm gonna look up now. I'm gonna look it up.
No, I'm gonna get there. Just give me
Shark
give me a
minus
sec.
1.
Shark minus 1. Oh no.
Is it Jaws of the Shark?
Yes, that's what. No, Jaws. Is the cover a shark that's human sized holding a chainsaw?
No.
Okay, then that might not be it.
Keep looking. It's in there somewhere.
I sorry to all the. Clearly, by admitting I had a
shark.
It's not Doll Shark.
God, why?
By admitting that I had a shark shelf, I think I built up an expectation that I'm some kind of expert on the genre. I can assure you, there are many bad shark movies I've never seen, including this one, which clearly made such an impression on me after purchasing it that I haven't watched it yet. It's there. It's here. I swear it's here. I'm gonna find this thing. I know it's here somewhere. I'm not gonna get up and go into the other room, and it is Jaws of the Shark. It was Jaws of the Shark.
With the mouth on the I quit. I'm done.
This one, Jaws of the Shark. It is a serial killer, chainsaw wielding guy. He's either a shark or a guy wearing a shark, and I'm not sure which. And both of those options horrify me. But yes, for the audio listeners, I'm describing this. Oh God. So yeah, this is the movie. That was a tangent, but I think it's worth it, right? Right?
I think it's worth the fact that I just kept shouting out shark names.
It brought us closer. It was a bonding experience.
I think so. And a couple of those movies I don't have yet. So
Ninja versus Shark.
Yes, Ninja versus Shark is about to happen, and I am excited. Is that? Ooh, that's cool. I'm excited.
That's not an SRS title.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's a Media Blasters title. It's the other North New York distribution company that's run by one person.
Yes, it is. Oh man. Is that all for Kaiju Glam Metal Shark Attack?
I mean, so the good thing is $4,000 is not the budget. It's actually a lot higher. They're just doing that for added, to make it even better. They're letting people put in money. I thought about doing it, but to be honest, I think I'd rather put my money in other short film fan movie short film projects.
Whatever could you be referring to, Elijah?
Danny, can you read your? I think we need to read your the sub caption to your name.
Yes. For any and all context about what Elijah is talking about, please read the subtitle beneath my name here on StreamYard. Yeah.
And if you can't because you're listening to it, it says support Erica on Kickstarter.
Do it.
It's all in caps, so I had to yell it.
Yeah, but that's why I did it. You're supposed to hear it being yelled. It's part of the. It's like a sensory. It's like sensory marketing.
Fair
It's
enough.
what it is. Um,
So
Elijah, what do you got? One of these things to talk about?
you go ahead, Danny.
Okay.
You pick one.
All right. Before we move on, I do want to shout out Kim in the comments, who was not surprised that I have a bad shark movie shelf in my DVD collection. You shouldn't be. And also to Robert, who's mentioning the Tommy Wiseau shark movie. That is not only something that exists, but it is out. And it is touring right now, and it is apparently awful, which means I have to
What?
see it. Yes, Tommy Wiseau, director of the best movie ever made, The Room, has a new film out, his first directorial film effort since 2003, a movie called Big Shark. And it's currently touring. It is a film that was, they shot a trailer for it years ago as a joke. And now there was enough clamor for it that they have made Big Shark a movie. And it is real. And I want to see it. Oh, hi, Shark. Thank you. There it is. I have to see
Yeah, I
this.
thought that was supposed to be good. It's
Oh,
kind of a shocker to hear that it's bad.
I know. It caught me off.
A sharker.
A sharker.
Huh.
It caught me off guard too. I mean, I was expecting something a little bit higher quality from the man who gave us the quintessential kind of sort of American, kind of sort of drama, kind of sort of black comedy, The Room. But apparently, I guess he just lost his touch after 20 years. What can I say? 20 years changes a man. I don't know.
Sad to see him go. Sad to lose a talent like that.
I know. It's tragic. I weep for Tommy Wiseau. Okay, my thing. There, you're welcome. That's the sound I make when I think. You're welcome. I'm gonna go with Godzilla Island because I've talked about it before, but Godzilla Island, I think it's become clear to the people who know me from Kaiju Weekly now that I have an unhealthy obsession and deep unapologetic love for Godzilla Island. I've been a fan of it since I was younger. I found bootlegs many years ago. I've seen it. That's the series all the way through probably a dozen times. I love Godzilla Island more than I probably should. I love that show. So seeing it come out on YouTube subtitled has been really special for me, and it's been really cool and a little surreal to see other people finally talking about Godzilla Island. It's kind of becoming part of the Western Godzilla zeitgeist in a way now where it hasn't been before because it was unavailable, and now it's for free and it's subbed. And the 2 episodes that Brick mentioned earlier are very sad because, and I'm not gonna say too much in case you haven't seen it yet, but it's got one of the best monster fight / pairings of the entire series, in my opinion. Just like one of my favorite personally, which is an entire story arc of Mothra versus Hedorah. Mothra versus Hedorah. What a cool pairing. Hedorah comes to the Earth, and at this point in the Godzilla Island story, Mothra is in her adult imago form and has a baby. And basically, the story arc is kind of remaking the first Rebirth of Mothra film, where you have this creature, in this case Hedorah, instead of Death Ghidorah or Death Ghidorah, coming out and fighting. And there's a fight. And I'm not going to try not to spoil too much here, but if you've seen Rebirth of Mothra, which was coming, the second one was coming out at the time that this story arc was out, so it was kind of advertising for it. But you kind of are, if you've seen Rebirth of Mothra, you know what's going to happen in this story arc. But needless to say, it follows that kind of similar trajectory, but instead of Death Ghidorah, it's Hedorah. And Mothra and Hedorah are 2 of my favorite monsters ever. So when I saw that story arc as a kid, it blew my mind. And if you haven't started watching Godzilla Island, I would suggest you do so. Go to the official Godzilla YouTube channel and start at the beginning. The episodes are 3 minutes a pop. They're not going to take up too much of your time. And work your way up to this episode. You can start at these episodes if you want, or at least the beginning of this arc. But I will always take the opportunity to point people in the direction of Godzilla Island because it is wonderful and unironically possibly my favorite Godzilla anything ever. I love that show so much. It's so good. So yeah, there you go. I'm gonna vamp for that. Ooh, Wet Jeffrey again. Dan just did a pitch perfect Michael Winslow there, and I didn't want it to go unnoticed. He noticed the bleeps and the creeps. Thank you, Wet. Is that your real name, Wet? You know what? Never mind. I don't want you to ruin the illusion. I'm just gonna keep calling you Wet.
Wet.
Mr. Wet.
Wet Jeffrey.
Wet, the wettest of all the Jeffreys. All of them. You can shake your head all you want, but you know it's true. He would not have named himself Wet Jeffrey if it weren't true.
Wethu. Short for Wethu.
There you go. Elijah, what's your pick on this giant list?
I'm gonna go with, Danny, you picked something that you've talked about a little bit already. I'm gonna pick something I've talked about a little bit already.
Do it.
The Godzilla -1 collaboration with the
Yomiuri.
Yomiuri. Oh my god!
Yeah, you got this.
Yomiuri.
Here's an easy way to remember. Not the name, just the concept. Well, you know what? Never mind. I'll get into that later. You go ahead.
The Yomiuri. Did I say right?
Yomiuri. It's not like a hard Y sound, so it's not like Yomi Yuri, but it's Yomi Yuri.
Oh, okay.
Miyuri, what up?
Yomiuri.
Yomi Yuri.
Yomiuri.
There it is. There you
go. Yeah. There we go. That was like a whole thing. That was a bonding experience. Thank you, Danny.
I feel closer to you, Elijah. I do.
Thank you. Giants. I'm not gonna try and repeat what I said. Giants.
Those guys.
Those people. The people. So this is a collaboration that starts October 1st, 2023. It will have special videos and greetings with Godzilla and Chibi Godzilla. The special video will be shown off during the first event, October 1st. And they're going to have the minus Goji, which is what I'm calling it, and I will forever call it that. Minus Goji is going to be there. So okay. I'm gonna kind of fall into a Nathan Marchand trope here. I apologize in advance.
Tread carefully.
So on my podcast, shameless self-promotion. On my podcast this month, we have been covering Takashi Yamazaki movies, and we just recorded our last episode last night or last morning, yesterday morning, last night.
Time is a flat circle.
It happened over a 2-day process because of Australia time zones. And I have found a new love and appreciation for Yamazaki. Covering all of the films we've covered for this event. So for me, it's like the more excitement we have for -1, the more I'm really wanting to see it. And this is the most I'll say from all 5 episodes that we've recorded. The one thing I know for certain is anything written and directed by Takashi Yamazaki is a guaranteed pitch perfect, amazing work of cinema. Anything that he writes and directs, and he's writing and directing and producing this, so I can't help but think that -1 is going to be an amazing, beautiful, remarkable, tremendously, amazingly stupendous cinematic masterpiece of auteur art of the highest degree of peak cinema.
What adjectives, sir? My goodness.
Yes, quite.
Yes.
Now, where does
So
baseball factor in? That's what we're here for.
Come on, man. Get to the sports ball.
So the b-ball part, I'm excited. I mean, anything to like market this movie and just build up hype for me is just, I mean, it's there. Like seeing this is our first bit of news since the initial like just smorgasbord of like renders and trailers and figures and artwork and whatnot. Like this is our first bit of news. And I'm excited. Like this stuff looks great. We haven't seen anything for the collaboration yet, but anytime I see Godzilla -1 appear, I'm automatically like my head's turned and I'm staring right at that and nothing else, and nothing can deter my visual sight from that beautiful Godzilla -1 insert thing here. So I'm excited for that. Jane Myers in the chat. Hello.
Hey, Jane. What is up?
And I feel like we kind of went through that a little fast, unless you guys have anything you want to say about the Godzilla -1 collaboration. No?
I do
I
want to
got one.
ask you if you're upset that they didn't call it Godzilla Zero.
So, okay. Godzilla Zero is a really good name that kind of rolls off the tongue, right? It's also what I think they would title it in America. And my preferred version of the title is the Godzilla -1.0. Something about that has just grown on me that's like distinctly Japanese. And I just love it. Like we don't have a title like that in this franchise at all. Like there's nothing like that. Which just adds to the fact that I feel like this is going to be a standout film. Like when we in retrospective, when we talk about the Rewa era, I think -1 is going to be very much a height and a very like clear standout film. And I think the title is just going to be a small part of that. So I like -1 or I like 0, but -1 is it's grown on me, and I very much prefer -1 over 0 at this point in my
Really?
life. Yes. I feel like you hate it.
No, it feels a little bit like Google Translate title. Like they put something in and that's what they got, and they're like, "Ooh, that sounds good." But I just brought that up because I've been listening to this show for a while, and the week before they announced Godzilla -1, you were so certain it was going to be called Godzilla Zero that,
I
whenever
was.
somebody brought up like, they're maybe it might be called Godzilla Zero, you were like, yeah, it is going to be called Godzilla Zero. I can tell you that right now.
The thing about it is I've heard this theory and I'm kind of sold on it. I think because looking into the life of reading into all the fine details of everything about certain stuff, we got the title for Godzilla Zero like a year and a half ago based off of a person who was a extra on the film that received some merchandise for being an extra, and the name on it was Godzilla Zero. So that was at least a working filming title of sorts. Some people think because that got leaked out, because this movie has been like kept behind closed doors, like nobody's business. Like I feel like we knew more about Shin Godzilla by at this point than we do know about -1. Um, Danny, you were probably a little more involved than I was on a fandom level around Shin Godzilla. We're by this point because we are at the end of August. So we have 2 months and like a week before this movie goes live. which is kind of weird because we have a poster, a teaser trailer, and a handful of CG renders. We had way more for Shin Godzilla by this point, didn't we?
Uh a little bit more. We had a cast that we don't have for this one yet. We had information on more of the crew, including the composer, which we don't have for this film yet. We at least locked in. We
Though I can
had
guarantee you I know who it'll end up being.
oh yeah, just like you could guarantee that the movie was going to be called Godzilla Zero. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm messing with you. You want to name drop it for people?
Yeah, so
I'll continue in a sec. You go ahead.
So I'm just gonna real quick say that Naoki Sato has composed quite literally almost all of Yamazaki's films. I mean, I have his list right here in my notebook. The Always Sunset trilogy, The Eternal Zero, Stand By Me, Doraemon 1 and 2, Parasite 1 and 2, A Man Called Pirate, The Great War of Archimedes, Dragon Quest Your Story, and Ghost Book. That's like almost that. The only things missing from that is Ballad, Returner, Juvenile, and Destiny. And that is his entire filmography. So this composer's only not done 4 of his movies. And this composer's already done the Ifukube theme once before. Why would you not bring him back? And Yamazaki loves working with people he's worked with for a long time. So to me, it feels like the writing is on the wall that that's going to be the next composer for this Godzilla movie.
I think you're right. I think that's a good call to make. Just to kind of wrap up the Shin stuff, we didn't really know the plot. We knew about as much about the plot in a different way as we know about -1, because we know when -1's taking place. We know the general concept behind it of Japan being brought even lower post-nuclear bombing. And all we really knew about Shin Godzilla is that it was about, Godzilla versus Japan, and Japan basically having to reach within itself to find a solution to the problem. Other than that, we knew nothing. When I went to see that film on opening day, I walked in, oh gosh, what was that, like July 28th, 29th, 2016, something like that, or 27th, end of July. Whenever that
Right.
was, when it opened in Japan, my butt was in a seat at a Toho cinema, and I knew nothing. They kept a lid on that thing really, really well. I had no idea that there were going to be earlier larval type evolutionary forms of Godzilla. Nobody knew. I didn't know what was going to happen. I knew nothing. That's about it. I mean, the only slight inclination of what I didn't know anything about like the critical reception. I didn't have any clue at all. The only person I talked to who'd seen the film before I saw it was Norman England. And he was not keen on it. So it gave a couple of the people I went to go see the movie with some cold feet, but everybody walked out thrilled when they'd watched it. So it was all yeah. But obviously Norman's a cool dude. He wasn't going to spoil anything. But we talked with him before we saw the film, but he didn't give us plot specifics. All he said was that he'd seen it, and there was nothing. I mean, they kept the previous forms and the obviously like the back, like him shooting the lasers out of his back, how his body worked, the little tail mouth that he had, all that stuff. Just we didn't know any of it, so I'm not expecting we'll know that much heading into this movie. It's also worth noting that as of this year in Japan, there is now a good template for this, because Hayao Miyazaki's latest film opened in theaters with no trailer and only 1 or 2 promotional images. How Do You Live is the name of the film, or The Boy and the Heron is what it's called now in America. That name was picked by Ghibli. So we're only just now starting to get screenshots from this thing, but the film opened with mega hype with no trailer and only 1 poster. And if I don't think that's going to happen with -1. I think we're going to get a full trailer here probably within the next month or 2. Has to be within the next month or 2, because we're going to get the movie after that. So we're more than halfway through August. So I imagine a trailer will be coming probably next month. I don't know how much they'll reveal in said trailer. But that's about it. And yes, Robert, the gourd. Yes, this is a tangent, but ever so briefly, when I went to Wonderfest in Summer Wonderfest in Tokyo that year, they had the production maquette for Godzilla on display, and they had this weird little thing in the next to it that looked for all the world like an egg sac or like some kind of worm. We weren't sure what it was, so we suspected that maybe it was like a Godzilla offspring, or like it was his first like a larval stage or something, and it grew. Turns out it was just a sculpture of a real world gourd that they were using as reference for the skin texture. So it had nothing to do with the plot, but by sheer coincidence, the film happened to have evolutionary forms in it anyway. It just had nothing to do with the gourd. But we suspected going in that that might have something to do with it. So we were primed a little for maybe something like that to happen, but it based on something that had nothing to do with what we eventually saw. So it was weird, but I'm happy going into this film knowing as little as possible. That's my
I
thing.
agree. I agree. Grattan, what do you think?
Um, yeah, I'm excited for it. Um, I never want to set myself up with, expectations of if it's going to be good or bad. Um, I was very, very hyped for Shin Godzilla when that came out, and I really didn't like it. I like it more now a little bit, but it was just different. So I'm trying to go in with zero expectations, and hopefully, if they do something new and cool, then that'll surprise me.
Okay. That's a good way to
Yeah.
put it. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And before we move on, one stupid fun fact about the Yomiuri Giants. Um, the Yomiuri Giants insignia, that's Ichiro's baseball cap from All Monsters Attack. He's wearing a Yomiuri Giants baseball hat. The yellow was there to keep children from being victims of hit and runs in the late 60s. But so that's why it was yellow. But the actual insignia, that is a Yomiuri Giants baseball cap. So we can infer that Ichiro was a baseball fan.
I love that.
So there you go. Little fun fact. There you go. For anybody who didn't know, this is what it's like inside my brain. Everybody.
Dun dun dun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scary.
Well, I've been. It's funny you say that because Danny, I've been buying a ton of stuff lately. Like, I kid you not. I had to like. I basically have banned Amazon off of my laptop and my phone because I have packages coming in quite literally Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
That's a
I
lot.
have a lot. I have a lot.
That's a lot.
I've spent a lot, and I would like it if you sold some more stuff to me. So
Okay.
Danny, why don't we hop on into the toys and collectibles side of the stream, and not that. There we go. And talk about all of this lovely stuff we've got
Ooh,
in the
doggy.
toys and collectibles stream.
There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, including Elijah. Are you ready to spend money?
Absolutely.
All
Actually, I
right.
can't. My bank account says I can't, but I'll make it work.
Mine too. Okay. So here we go. Time for the toys and collectibles. I'm going to get my notes set up so I don't mess anything up, but let's start at the very beginning, which I understand is a very good place to start. And in this case, that is on the left side. That is on the left side. Let me make sure that my notes are ready to go. If you will take a look here, we're looking at, oh my gosh, hang on a second. It is Baragon, right? I'm not losing my mind here.
Yes.
It is incredibly small. Okay. I just
Is
want to
it
make sure
small?
I haven't completely lost my mind here. So what we're looking at are some really cool upcoming shirts from our good pals at Ghost X Ghost. They do amazingly cool Kaiju Godzilla licensed t-shirts, all that good stuff. And this is their new Baragon Metalcropolis Night Hunt variant shirt, which is really, really, really cool. I mean, I Metalcropolis, I don't know what that is, but that's a cool name. That's just a cool name. So there are a couple of different versions here. There's a $30 Night Hunt variant, and then there's a blacklight screen printed poster as well, which is really, really cool. And obviously it's the same art. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. T-shirt will run you about $30. The poster about 65. Pre-orders are currently open and will run for the next 5 days until August 25th. These are limited, so if you want them, you're gonna have to snag them from the Ghost X Ghost website. Are either of you planning on getting the shirt and or this poster? I am not either. I am not either.
I
It's
will
just
not. I
yeah,
can't dictate purchasing a $65 poster
I can't do it. I can't do it either.
unless
I've
it's
done yeah.
Inframan.
I was there. I saw that happen. The last time I spent and this is nothing against how beautiful this art is or like the price. Like the price is fair. It's just not something I can swing. Uh, I've the last time I spent that kind of money on a new like art poster was for the Mondo Hedera cutaway uh, drawing that they did. It was about a year ago. And I did that because I'm a sucker for Hedera and I'm a sucker for Kaiju Cutaway Anatomy drawings. And it was both. And I had to do it, you guys. It was beautiful. But yeah, so unfortunately, I'm not going to be picking these up. It's not in the budget, nothing against the design or anything like that. I'm always looking for new Kaiju shirts and posters, but I can't do it. I can't do it. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Right next to that, we have some images of some Gamera stuff. We've got some new Gamera stuff coming up here soon. And it's not just any Gamera, it's the Heisei Gamera. We have a whole new line of Heisei Gamera trilogy merchandise coming out, which is really, really cool. Obviously, Katakawa is gearing up for the release of Gamera Rebirth on Netflix, which is coming up real soon. So they're kind of going back a little bit, and we're doing some neat Heisei stuff. There's a T-shirt coming out. There's a banner. If you look there, we've got stickers, keychains, a lanyard, and what might be the coolest of the bunch, a backpack, a Heisei Gamera backpack, which they really missed an opportunity to make it look like a turtle shell. I'm just saying that would have been cool, but it's cool. I like this. I like this a lot. Anything that you guys would add to your collection if you happen to spot it at a convention?
I don't think so. I'm
Backpack,
not.
maybe.
The backpack, maybe. I would agree. The backpack, maybe, but that
I'm a little weird. I gotta have like really weird and out there stuff.
flying Gamera keychain's not doing it for you. No, I get it. I get it.
Maybe
These
like
are
a
cool.
baby Jiger around my neck.
There you go. See, that would be neat. That would be really, really neat.
I got a baby Jiger hanging from my neck.
Ooh,
That sounds
yeah.
like a rap lyric.
Baby Jaga hanging from my neck. Yeah, I could like. Let's do it. Kaiju Ramen remix.
They should
Would
have. They should be selling framed pictures of Steven Seagal's daughter as part of this collection.
You know, you know what they should do is Magatama necklaces. They should get like the little comma shaped Magatama.
Little stone, yeah.
Yeah, and they've made those before, but if they brought those back now as keychains, they'd make a killing. That would be amazing. They've sold them as gachapons before, but I would love to see that. But more Heisei Gamera is always good in the world. You know what else is always good when you add it to the world? More Ultraman Tiga stuff. And the lovely, lovely gentleman on the far right there is the new SH Figure Arts Glitter Tiga. Pretty cool. SH Figure Arts does a really good job with their Ultra releases. They're because when I first started collecting the Bandai articulated stuff, it was under a completely different line called Ultra Act, and I actually have the Ultra Act. Gosh, I think I have the Tiga Sky and Powered type. I don't have the multi type, but I don't actually have that many figure arts. I have the original Ultraman as a figure art. I have maybe one or two other ones as figure arts, but I do like this one. And this one specifically is Glitter Tiga. Pre-orders for this bad boy go live tomorrow at the time of this recording, which is August 21st. It'll be about 9,900 yen, which rounds out to about $68, which is pretty fair for what this is. It's about 6 inches tall, fully articulated, comes with extra pieces. In this case, it comes with a Zephyrian ray, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's going to be coming out in November as well, November 2023. And you'll probably be able to get this off of Amazon. Most of the figure arts do pop up there, but I'd be remiss if I didn't name drop our good friends at Kaiju Live, who I am sure will be getting this, along with a couple of other places as well. Is this an Ultra Act you guys would get? I'll probably skip it personally, just because I haven't collected the figure arts in a while, and I don't have the room to get too many more.
Grattan, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get this. No, I have a lot of respect for Ultraman, but I would be a fake fan if I acted like I knew what was going on here.
Okay. No worries.
I like Ultraman. I've watched Ultra Q, and I've watched most of the first season of Ultraman. I thought about going to Ultra Fest because I live near San Francisco now, but at the last minute I kind of realized I have no idea what any of this is. So I kind of admire Ultraman from a distance.
That's fair.
But $60 for a figure of a character I don't know anything about would be a little crazy for me.
A little
But
silly.
I know it's gonna make a lot of nerds happy. I can say that
That's true.
with some confidence.
That's true. It would make me happy. I just don't have the $70 to drop on it at the moment, unfortunately. But
Right.
it's cool. It's a cool figure. It's a cool figure. And honestly, given a look at this, that's about it. That's about it for our list of things. Our list of things.
Are you sure? I feel like there's one more thing spiraling out of a reveal from yesterday.
Oh yeah?
You know, maybe a little bit of this.
Huh. Well, look what the cat drug in. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. I actually don't have all the specifics for this guy handy.
I
But,
think if you scroll
No,
down a little bit,
I'm teasing you. It's right here. This is the new oh my gosh, brand new colorway for the 1995 Burning Godzilla from Spiral Toys. Look how beautiful this is. Look how beautiful this is. It's interesting. It's a solid color. And it's got a great sculpt on it. Spiral is slowly growing their catalog of really outstanding Sofubi sculpts, and this one's really cool. I don't know why, but I'm a sucker for like that, and I don't really collect these, unfortunately, but I do like solid colors for some reason. There's something about it that I just find really cool. This beautiful dude is gonna actually open for pre-order. He's open for pre-order now. You can get him right now. He's pretty cool. He's pretty darn cool. And he's expensive though. He's expensive. That's the one thing.
Is it really limited to 30?
It is limited to 30. There are only going to be 30 of these things, and he is going to run you 280 smackaroonies. This is an almost $300 figure. He is 30 centimeters tall. He's pretty beefy, but I'm not a big Sofubi collector, so I will not be getting it. I don't have $300 to spend on one of these guys. Are either of you two lovely human beings Sofubi people?
I'm developing a love for Sofubi. That being said, I'm with an acquired taste.
Fair.
It has to be certain characters, and they have to be certain colors. I like weird. I'm a weird person, in case it wasn't obvious. I like there's a Sofubi out there of like Robot Detective K and like Woo, and
I would get that.
A few others, and it's like I would love to grab that. Like I'd pick that up.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't go for a lot of this stuff. My first Sofubi, this will tell you what kind of a Sofubi collector I am. My first Sofubi was the 1964 Godzilla Hawaiian color version. So it's bright blue. It looks like an old Godzilla figure and whatnot. And that was my first one because I was like, that's what I want the beginning of this obsession to be. And then my second one was a Nakajima from M1.
Yes, which I would get one of those too. They stopped making those, so get them while you can.
Yeah.
For me, it's not so much like, clearly this is a work of art. Like, this is a beautifully sculpted thing. I love it. I love like the bright like candy red color to it, but not only is it's just $300 just outside of my price range right now, but if I did have it, and this is something I've said before on Kaiju Weekly, imagine, if you will, being me, how many VHS tapes or weird Godzilla Land pencil erasers or like just all kinds of like weird little odd knickknacks or books or theater programs or like little bits of knowledge, like based things or like lobby cards that I could get for $300. You know what I mean? That said, if I had $300 burning a hole in my pocket, I would snag this. I do not, but ever so tragically, it is not the case. Grattan, will you be acquiring this Sophie, my good friend?
Look, if I was made of money, I'd have a lot of things.
This is, yeah.
But yeah, that's not gonna make the cut for me. But on a positive note, if that was covered in sugar and you told me it was a limited edition Sour Patch Kid, I would take a bite, no questions asked.
Gummy bear.
I can say that, but yeah, you've got a good point. You could buy a lot of little stuff for that. I've got a couple of these Godzilla 35 millimeter cameras.
Oh, that's the kind of stuff I dig, man.
You could get a few of those for $280.
You're like, you know how many King Ghidorah squeaky hammers I could get for? Oh man, like all this silly stuff. But yeah, so like it's not so much like I'm saying it's bad or anything. It's just a difference in collecting philosophy. And also $300 is really good for like paying rent, electricity, eating, gasoline, that kind of stuff. If you're into that sort of thing. Elijah's not.
Or you
That's
could
not
just you could throw your money into a wood stove, like a fire.
Well, if it was between that and buying the toy, I'd probably get a nice toy out of the deal. But
unless it's cold outside, Danny. All right, unless you're about to freeze.
Oh, this is survival. Okay, yeah, the money's burning. I'm sorry. I gotta live.
Go.
I gotta roast my marshmallows somehow after the apocalypse.
I am sure that they'll find 30 people, give or take, to pick these up.
Yeah, they will definitely. I know I have a lot of collector peeps that I know and some friends who will absolutely be all over this. If you're a Sophie collector, 1995 Godzilla in any way, shape, or form is like a big deal. So people will snap this up. Who needs food? A figure would be a better deal, says Helmy. Helmy knows what's up.
And speaking of a figure,
yes,
I heard that somebody in this stream might have a box
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no clue what you're talking about. So there is no figure in here, but since we didn't have that big of a toy section and collectible section, I actually look, I've become large. So check this out. I got this box literally as I was walking in to start streaming.
How much was the box?
How much was the box? Was $1,000 million bajillion.
That's about
just the
right.
cardboard. Just the cardboard. This was just an Amazon purchase. There are a couple of Dan would ditch the very funny wet Jeffrey. Oh Jeff. Oh you. Anyway, yeah. This is just hit my microphone. This is just an Amazon box, and it does have some kaiju goodies in it. So I figured it might be kind of fun to just to pop it open on the stream and see what's in here. So I'm gonna do that with my address facing the opposite direction. There we go. Nothing too crazy in here, but I'm given to understand that people enjoy watching other people open boxes on camera on the internet. So I'm gonna do that.
It looks good.
So That was a great unboxing by one Daniel DeMana. I must.
It's one for the books. We'll never know. He's gone. Goodbye. Look, and if somebody put a bomb in that box, we would have no idea. It's too late now.
I'm doing a horrible job as this host.
Coming up on comics and video games. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Danny will be missed. He was a very important and beloved figure in this community, and his loss. Oh, there he is.
Okay. What do you say we try that again, shall we? Oh gosh, I didn't die. Explode. I did nothing. No, it's fine. Okay. Let's try that again. I don't know what happened. I must have pulled on my cord or something and it just pulled the entire thing down. Okay. All right. I believe wholly in my abilities to do this without completely messing everything up. I don't know if you guys believe in me, but I think
we believe in you.
Thank you. Okay. So first up, I got a new book. It's a new book. It's not a new book, but it's a new book for me called Strange Beasts in a Small Town.
Okay. Is it fiction? Or
it's a fiction novel. And if you can't tell from the back, this is very clearly kaiju inspired. My buddy Robert, who might still be in the chat, he might have left after he thought I was dead. Oh, no, there he is. Podcast just where's oh my gosh. That would have been funny, Robert. Maybe next time I goof up in front of the audience. But yeah, Robert, I know you have this book, and I've been meaning to pick it up forever. And it was $3 on Amazon this last week, so I figured I might as well snag it. So I have a new giant monster novel to read. With apologies to Nathan Marchand, I am only just now picking this up.
Why just Nathan?
Because he's the only person I know who contributed to this. So anyway, let me cover Elijah's. I'm going to cover Elijah's name here.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on.
What?
I'll have you know that I'm the reason Nathan got in that book.
I know you are. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a book I've been meaning to pick up for a long time called Giant Bug Cinema, a Monster Kid's Guide. And it's an essay book that it's exactly what you think. It's basically a filmography of analyses and discussions on classic giant bug films. And Mr. Elijah Thomas is in it.
Yep, that's the only person in the book.
And some guy named Nate. But
you should turn to a page. I think it's like page 37. I don't know.
Oh, it's like page 37.
Like
interesting.
Page 37.
Is it for kids?
It's. I mean, kids could read it. Grattan, if you're wondering if you could read it, absolutely, it's for your age level.
Well, you know, one thing that kids love is essays.
Essays. Yes. Kids come running for the great taste of essays. Let's see here. I'm trying to find yours. It is not page 37. You lied to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. What should be 38?
30. It's not 38. It's page 89.
Oh,
come on, man.
That's how old we're going to be by the time you get to the page.
My clothes are going out of style.
Singer.
There it is. Elijah wrote this this essay, this chapter on Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, because Mothra is in it, so it counts. It counts, people. I've been meaning to pick this book up forever to support my friends, and I finally had the dough to do it. So I will be starting with Nate and Elijah's chapters.
Start with mine.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say subtly.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna. All kidding aside, I got this to support my friends. I've since become friends with Mark Bailey, who is the awesome dude who put this whole thing together. He is a wonderful person.
He's an amazing human being.
He is an outstanding person. I'm so glad that I got to I wouldn't have gotten to know him if it weren't for you guys. So because I was interacting during the interview that you guys did with him. Where you all talked about the book, and he liked what I had to say in the comments. And he reached out to me afterwards and said, "You seem like a cool dude." And I said, "Same to you, Mark." So I finally got it. I'm so happy to finally have it. I'm going to read all of this thing. It's not a huge book. So Grattan, if length is a problem, I can assure you that
It's
it's a breezy read.
it's less than 2 inches thick.
No, it is very.
Well-
Nope. Don't. I know. Nope. I will grab the squeaky hammer. I swear to God. It is 100.
Rest assured, I have an 8th grader's reading level, so I bet you feel pretty dumb now.
No, I've felt dumb
You're
since the
talking to
moment
a
I knew
scholar
you were,
here.
So 121 pages, not long at all. Happy to have it. There you go. And then last but not least, this is a Blu-ray purchase I've been meaning to. Thanks, Jane. I'm happy to have them. This is a Blu-ray purchase I've been meaning to make for a long time. I have some bad public domain, crappy versions of this film in my collection, but now I have the nice restored Blu-ray, the original 1 million BC.
Oh,
Yes.
Who put it out?
A Dino classic from the 40s with Lon Chaney Jr. and who else is in it? Victor Mature, Carol Landis. Good stuff. Rather infamous today for its Slurposaur style special effects, where they dressed up lizards and gators to look like dinosaurs. The special effects from this film are the most reused effects scenes of all time, because alternate takes and the actual original footage was sold to the stock footage library after the film came out. Footage from this movie is in Gigantus the Fire Monster, and Robot Monster, and friggin' Jungle Manhunt. It's in 1,000 movies. And every copy of this movie I'd ever seen just looked like somebody had spilled coffee and beer all over it, and I'm not about that. So I got this nice new restored Blu-ray. Oh gosh, who put this out? Is this VCI? Yes,
it
it's
looks
VCI.
like
This is
okay.
VCI. This is VCI.
Same company that put out Gorgo.
Yes, the nice Gorgo people. Maybe we can get the Titanic Creations guys to make some giant articulated gators and iguanas.
I'll reach out.
There you go. You're the guy to make that happen. So yeah, nothing earth shattering, but nice new Blu-ray for my dinosaur collection, and a couple of new books. One recommended to me by a friend, and one to support my friends. So there you go. Nice little impromptu unboxing there.
And with that, I feel like there's one last thing to kind of unbox this episode. And Grattan so graciously has agreed to introduce us to the next segment of the lovely show. And that is none other than toys and not toys and collectibles.
I almost got
Toys
it.
and collectibles.
Well, these are collectibles. They're comics and they're video games.
They sure are.
That's true. And 5 to 10 minutes. Start the clock now.
All right, starting the clock.
All right. The trailer for Godzilla Rivals vs. Space Godzilla was released. New this week, Godzilla War for Humanity Issue 1. Also, Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong comic book panels have been revealed. Cover reveals for Justice League versus Godzilla vs. Kong Issue 2. Legends of the Monsterverse Omnibus PDF released to Kickstarter. Battle Sprites has revealed a Monster X card. And Dawn of the Monsters Arcade Edition receives an update on August 24th.
Right. So we got a little bit of comic book news here. We've got for all of you comic book readers, yes, Godzilla War for Humanity's first issue comes out. And you can see all of those variants. There are 4 variants. You have cover A, or 5 variants, actually. I believe there's 5 on the screen. You have cover A, cover B, retailer's incentive 1 for every 10 purchased, retailer's incentive 1 for every 25 purchased, and retailer's incentive 1 for every 50 purchased. And honestly, these covers look amazing. Like, so the cover A is the green cover. It looks pretty good. Your cover B is the one that looks like a is it John Bellotti Jr.? Is that his name?
Yes.
It kind of looks
Yeah.
like his art style. The
A little bit.
1 out of 10 is kind of like your typical Godzilla triumphant, but it looks really good. The colors in all of these are beautiful. What I really love is the one for 25 looks like the Video Treasures Godzilla versus the Sea Monster VHS, and I cannot get enough of that.
That's clearly intentional, and I love it.
And
Uh,
then the one for 50 is gorgeous. Like it's Godzilla peering, about to charge his atomic breath, and it's absolutely beautiful.
that's great.
And are you guys picking this up?
I'll get them. I'm behind. I'm behind on my Godzilla comics. I have not been. I just for the sake of trying to save money, I haven't been to my comic book store in a long while, so I'm behind on multiple issues of Monsters and Protectors, unfortunately. But my dude at the comic book store, shout out to JC's Comics and More in the Toledo area. He's awesome. He takes good care of me. He puts aside anytime something Godzilla related comes out, he puts it aside for me. Bless him. So I need to go in there and raid my collection of things that I haven't picked up from him yet. But I will absolutely be getting these, and he does get in the variants, and he puts those aside for me too. So however many variants he has, I don't know if I'll get all of them. I mean, he's not going to have all of them, but however many he has, I will get what I can. I might have to say no to a few for money related reasons, but yeah, I will definitely be picking these up. What about you, Gren?
Well, my mom says that comic books will rot my brain, so I'm not gonna be picking this up, but the art is really good on a lot of these. Um, and it would make for a nice display piece.
And speaking of art, we're gonna move here. Uh, nope,
Oh,
that's the wrong
spoilers!
spoilers,
Spoilers!
right? So, kind of moving on in the list of things here, there was some comic book panels for the upcoming series, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, and a lot of people are not happy at all with what we have found from these. Um, let's just say that, well, we're not just going to say, we're just going to say it. Most of the stuff we've seen for these comics is traced or just embossed screenshots from a movie or a photo put onto a comic book strip. And it's it's a little upsetting to say the least.
It's not a great look. It's not a great look. It's not a great look.
It's really not.
No. And as I've been seeing a lot of artists weigh in on this on the artist formerly known as Twitter. And I'm not going to let that joke die. I know it's not funny, but I'm going to keep doing it. But a lot of artists saying like it, it's not that hard to just draw this character. You know, I personally like I couldn't do it very well, but a lot of artists out there can absolutely draw the legendary Godzilla, and it seems to me like they I don't. I mean, it had to have occurred to them that maybe we can hire an actual person to do this instead of having it just be traced, or basically have the like a screenshot vectored in some way. It's like, well, here's line art of a screenshot from the movie. So it's unfortunate, and not it's not a great thing for a book that a lot of people are excited about. The Godzilla Kong you know chunk of the world, meaning the Justice League chunk of the world. That's a big deal. So this is an unfortunate aspect of it. It's a bit of a bummer. I'm still going to get the book, but it's not great. It's not great.
Same here, same here. Grattan, do you have any thoughts?
I was wondering if that's like a common practice for stuff like that. Is the tracing thing like a big deal, or is that like kind of par for the course for media like that?
It's a little different. Um, so I mean, typically, the way that this stuff has worked, um, in the past is There sometimes people do trace. Um, I've stumbled upon some of that. Uh, Looking at a lot of the modern day comics for specifically Godzilla comics, it does seem like the course of action for a lot of these comics is tracing over some stuff. The one that immediately comes to my mind is Godzilla Monsters and Protectors issue 3, I believe it is, cover A, where they traced 2 SH Monster Art figures for the cover, and you can actually see the joints in the
Oh, yeah.
in the art. Um, which, it's a little disappointing, especially we just last week we did an unboxing on Godzilla the Art Adams uh Super 7 figures, those beautiful boys. Yes, Danny's holding one in his at his camera right now. And so when you look at those comics, none of that's traced. Like, to my understanding, none of that's traced. That was all
Mhm.
Art Adams doing what Art Adams wanted to do. And now we're in, Matt Frank, obviously, Jeff Zorno, Bob Eggleton, all have went above and beyond to create artwork that's original and beautiful. But in recent time, there's been a lot of artists just getting it done, just kind of doing it. And I don't know if it's a time problem or a pay issue or what, but it's a little it's a little disheartening to see comic book art not to the standard it once was for this franchise. Um, and this is, I mean, for War for Humanity, that's a different story. Like, the art's beautiful, it looks great, but we've had a lot of art lately that's just not been up to par with what we've had. I kind of feel like the comics scene has been a little weak in a lot of regards. I know on the Godzilla Rivals trade paperback, they traced a picture of a Godzilla toy that's kind of that was used for a meme template back in the mid 2010s. Um and to see that they just traced that was kind of like, that's not the coolest. Like, that's a little disheartening. And even if they
Mhm.
didn't trace it, it was still like used as a reference image, and it quite literally, like, same angle, same everything. And it's one of those things where we just haven't had the best of luck with comics lately. Um, with that being said, however, we did have some reveals for the next issue of Godzilla versus Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, which has some nice artwork. In the bottom right hand of the slide we have here, we have a really cool detailed artwork of Godzilla, Kong, and the Justice League. So I mean, there is still hope. There's still plenty of stuff to have here, and with the reveal for the second issue, we did get a plot synopsis stating Legendary's Monsterverse has been unleashed on the DC universe, and cities are threatened across the globe, from Metropolis to Gotham City to, I'm not good with fictional cities names. Thymseria?
Nate is
From
ripping his hair out somewhere right now.
Danny, what is it? You're a bigger nerd than me.
Themyscira.
Themyscira?
Themyscira. That's where Wonder Woman comes from.
The Justice League scrambles to protect the citizens from the raging titans. What role has the Legion of Doom played in all of this monster madness? And how will the tide of battle change when heroes fall? So, I mean, I'm with Danny. I'll pick him up, but it is a little disappointing to see the tracing going on. But beyond that, we did get a new Godzilla short story in the form of a omnibus exclusive for the Legends of the Monsterverse PDF that has been released to Kickstarter. I think it's also going to be available printed as well.
Yep, those should be shipping soon to the backers. I am one of them, and I have been waiting, so I'm very happy to finally hopefully be getting it here soon. The
So,
PDF is out, but the print should be ready soon.
can you explain to me what that is, Danny, since you are a backer of this?
Oh gosh. Well, the story is titled Fight or Flight, and I actually, off the top of my head, don't recall what the plot of this thing is. So I'm gonna do a little snooping real quick. I don't know if they've said that much about it either. But I'm gonna check real quick here. Hang on. We're gonna see. We're gonna see what this is all about.
I know it got a retitle because initially it was titled something else. Um, because when you look at all the backing stuff, it had a different title. And Zid, who did Godzilla, was it
But he
Godzilla
did,
Dominion,
yeah, and
right?
he did the Birth of Kong as well.
Okay, Birth of Kong and
Yes.
Godzilla Dominion. He did the artwork for that. He did the artwork for this, and I believe he wrote it. This was his
Mm-hmm.
own side story that is it's technically official, correct? Like it is official canon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is canon. So I've got a well, I'm on Wikizilla here, and there's a whole synopsis here because the book is available here. Well, it's not a synopsis; it's like a whole plot run through. So I won't read that because I don't want to spoil anything. But what I will say, just kind of skimming this, is that it is the it is about how Godzilla saved the life of an F-15 pilot from the Mudos in 2014. Uh, and ultimately went on. Well, it saved him, and then he ultimately went on to join join the Air Force after that, after having been saved. Um, Character tries to convince them that Godzilla will only make landfall if another Titan came out, as he did with King Ghidorah and Rodan. Meanwhile, Godzilla swims beneath an aircraft carrier, Bermuda Triangle. Um, it's basically an intermediary story between Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and Godzilla versus Kong. It has some Apex stuff in it, but I'm not going to read too much more because I haven't read it yet, so I don't want to spoil it for myself.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's what I will say, Fight or Flight. It's an intermediary story, and it has to do with an Air Force pilot who thinks Godzilla is rather cool and was inspired to join because he was saved, and he encounters Godzilla again, presumably. I don't know. I didn't read that far ahead. I don't know. It looks cool. I was kind of hoping I could find like a tease for it, but I didn't see one.
Right.
Right. Because they were kind of keeping it close to the chest during the campaign, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's good stuff, and it's always nice to see new comics within the MonsterVerse come out. Zid is a tremendous talent when it comes to his artwork. My goodness, he is amazing. Actually, when he was doing Birth of Kong, the one of the issues was completely, like, all of his digital artwork had to be redone because it was deleted. So he had to redraw the whole thing. I don't remember which issue that was, but he had to redraw the whole thing, and it's gorgeous. Or most of it. Maybe I think most of it was done, and he had to redo part of it. I don't remember, but he did have to redo some art. But yeah, that new story is out, and I have access to the PDF. I'm probably going to hold off until I can read it in print. Because I'm one of those weirdos that likes turning physical pages in real books. I know I'm a dinosaur. What can I say? But you know,
It's all
yeah.
right. It's all right.
Well,
Now can people purchase this? Is that something they're able to do?
yes. It is purchasable. I believe it is available for pre-order on Amazon right now.
Okay. And does it come with the short story?
It comes with the short story. The
Okay.
short story is included, and it's basically going to be the same thing that the Kickstarter backers get. The only difference being we get a box. There's like a box slip cover that comes with the Kickstarter version. I believe that's the only difference. I think that's the only difference. I'm gonna really quickly look this up, just to make sure I've not completely lost my mind.
While you're
Monsterverse.
looking that up, I'm gonna give a quick rundown. So, of the video game section, Dawn of the Monsters is getting an update on August 24th. We'll have new modes, Japanese voice over, premium arcade, a new playable character called Meteor Temujin, and it will be available on all platforms. However, if you live in the UK, it will be released August 28th.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I got it. I pulled it up. Legends of the Monsterverse is available to pre-order from Amazon for the mere low price of $100 stinking dollars. It is a big book. It's everything they've published so far, but yes, it is the hardcover at least is $99.99, and it comes out on February 6th for the general non-Kickstartery part of the population. But I gotta say, that's a cool cover. If I can get it to show up. Yeah. $100 though. It's a big one. It's a big book.
Wow.
It is 500 pages. It's giant. It's pretty big. Yeah, so there you go.
Okay.
And again, the only thing that's not part of it, I believe, is the slipcover. I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're kind of wrapping a little things up here. So, you know what that just leaves? So, Danny, what do we do at this point?
Well, I believe it involves inquiring as to the presence or non-presence of communicative items within the span of a 24-hour period. In other words, what's in the mail today? It's time for the mailbag.
The mailbag?
The mailbag.
What's in the mail today?
Yeah. I can't.
It's anthrax.
Welcome to the Blue House.
We have no mailbag. There's nothing.
We just like to play that song.
We do. But
we
we do have one last thing that we could talk about. So it is with my great pleasure to follow up on something that we posted last week. And that is none other than the announcement. It's weird that I'm doing this and not somebody else. Of issue 10, now available for pre-orders on kaijuramen.com. I'm going to post the link in the chat for everybody to see.
Yes.
Yes. So yes, issue 10 is now available for pre-order. The theme of this issue was Godzilla's greatest enemies. You have articles on, Danny, what do we have articles on? There's so much in this one.
Goodness gracious, we have articles on King Ghidorah and his origins outside of the films. Man, we have an article on Anguirus and his relationship with Godzilla, which, spoiler alert, is not always as buddy friendly as you might think. We have an interview with the one, the only, the awesome poet and author, Mr. Donnie Winter. We have our usual mailbag. We have our usual art spotlights and all that good stuff. We have an article that I wrote on all the Godzilla clones from across the Godzilla verse of movies. I have some video game and manga and comic clone characters in there. I've all kinds of stuff. So it's not just the usual. It's not just Mechagod, like Kiryu and Orga and Space Godzilla and Biolante. They're in there, but I also throw in some weird stuff to round out that nice top 10. And it's not in any specific order. It's just 10 cool monsters I wanted to talk about. So I didn't rank them or anything, but they're all in there. And more. There's a lot more in this issue than just that. And we also have to give a shout out to Mars, who did that absolutely stunning cover. My gosh, that cover, based on the classic concept King Ghidorah, who had the the blue skin and the rainbow wings and all that good stuff. Just an outstanding cover. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in here. A lot of good stuff, all centered around the monsters, the people, the aliens that have given the King of the Monsters a run for his money, and a couple of other things that don't necessarily fall into that purview either. There's a review of Destroy All Monsters in there, and a few other little fun things that you will have to discover upon purchasing it, because it's worth it.
Yes, and digital copies will be available August 28th, 2023. So,
Yeesh.
yes.
And also, it is worth noting that when we do our physical copies, they will have holographic covers. Yes, it's going to look so cool. I can't wait to see those in person. Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm pumped for this. I'm pumped for people to get more Kaiju Ramen goodness. And woo, yeah, it's coming. It's coming soon. It's coming soon.
It is. It is. So
We
stay
worked hard on this
tuned.
one.
Now, like I said, pre-orders are now up. So go pre-order yourself one of those physical copies, and just I'm really excited for this issue. I think it's honestly one of our best. I think this is probably one of the best issues we've done. It'll be great. I definitely recommend it to everybody to go check out. But with speaking of checking out, unfortunately, we've reached the end of the stream. But before we can end this, we have to do the most noblest and truest of kaiju podcaster traditions. And Danny, can you tell us what that tradition is?
Shameless self-promotion.
That's the
Okay,
voice to do it.
fine. I'll do it for real. Okay. Shameless self-promotion. I did it.
And with that,
That was close.
I know, it's haunting, isn't
That was
it?
a good one. Yeah.
Shameless self-promotion. Okay.
So, with Grattan being our guest, Grattan, go ahead and link yourself. Let the viewers know where they can go support you.
I'm Grattan, and I'm the host of Giant Monster BS, officially the most underrated podcast about giant monsters and Godzilla. So if you're interested in like sort of indie cult classic kind of podcasts, Giant Monster BS is available wherever you get your podcasts. The podcast turns 5 years old on the 25th, and we just put out the first new episode in several months. We both moved, and so it took us a while to get that out, but we just reviewed The Mighty Pecking Man, episode number 72.
I love that movie.
And so that review is out. You can listen to it now. You can follow us on x.com at Giant Monster BS if you still use that service. I don't post there anymore, really. But you can follow us there, and maybe every now and then you can see me ranting or asking a question that nobody answers.
Or pestering Ron Bonk to release more Howl from Beyond the
Yeah,
Fog.
harassing the owner of SRS Cinema, demanding that he print more Blu-rays.
It worked.
Yeah, I don't regret it.
No.
And that's all I do.
Okay. So, Danny, wake me up when you're done. I'm sure you'll be here for a bit.
Oh, for crying out
So,
loud.
where can people find your amazing work?
Wow. I'm not sure where they can find my amazing work, but the rest of my work can be found at Godzilla Novelist. Okay. I tried. Thank you, Elijah. That's nice of you, man. If the idea of reading the Godzilla movies as full-length prose novels sounds like your jam, then I might have the solution. And that is the Godzilla Novelization Project, which is an ongoing endeavor on my part. I've been at it also 5 years, to gradually, over time, create full-length novelizations of all the Japanese Godzilla films and share those novels, those chapters, the whole shebang, 100% free on a website with anybody who wants to read them. That website, predictably, is GodzillaNovelizationProject.com. So again, if that sounds like your jam, head there. Give the books a read. That's also where you'll find short stories set within the Godzilla universe and timelines and blogs and all that good stuff. There's a whole list there of other podcasts I've been on. I've been on this show a lot of times. I've been on Monster Island Film Vault, probably more than I should be. I've been on like every Kaiju Ramen Media podcast network podcast at least once. Because y'all keep inviting me. I don't know why, but I haven't said no yet, because it's just fun. So yeah, I've been on a lot of podcasts. It's a good time. I've done voice acting on MAFV and in Godzilla Unmade. I was in the Bride of Godzilla episode. I sang the theme song for Elijah's podcast. I've done a lot of fun stuff all over the place, and it's all because people keep inviting me to do things. So I'm one of those people. I will never shut up about how grateful I am. But all that's all cool. But the thing I absolutely have to shill for while I'm here is that I am currently working on writing a short film. But that's the least exciting part of it. The most exciting part is that the one and only Kaiju Kim is making that short film. She is currently on Kickstarter, trying to get this amazing film off the ground that she's had in her head for 2 years. A little thing you might have heard of called Erica. As my subtitle down there may have alluded to, and Elijah saying earlier, Erica is currently trying to get funds. It's an animated short film. It's an alternate take, a retelling of Godzilla versus Biollante from the perspective of Erica Shiragami after she is killed at the beginning of the film. Her soul ends up in Biollante, and this film, all Kim's idea, it's been stuck in her head for years, and she's going to finally tell it. It's her perspective as the Godzilla cells start to turn her into a monster. What does the human soul inside of that Rose feel like as this is happening? So it's a peek into her psyche, a peek into her soul, and an alternate retelling of the movie, essentially from the perspective of this trapped and tortured human spirit. And Kim asked me to write the screenplay for it, which I couldn't have been more thrilled to say yes to. I'm still pinching myself about that, and I can't wait. I can't wait for people to see what she has in store. I am truly honored and thrilled to be working on it. If this sounds like the kind of film you want to see happen, then please, if you are able, head over to Kickstarter and throw us some mun-muns, throw us some cold hard cash. Minimum for backing is $10. You can back lower if you'd like to, or more. We go up to 150 currently. Some of the perks include a beautiful a print version of the beautiful poster that artist Tanner Wright did for this film. It's a beautiful piece of the rose form of Biollante. There's executive producer and normal producer credits, so you can throw your weight around without actually having to show up on set, which is always nice. You can bully us. You can basically bully us. It's great. We're working on cooking up some new rewards right now. As how cold, says Wet Jeffrey? Freezing, frigid, wet. That is how cold this cold hard cash is. But I promise you, your cold hard cash is going to a good cause. So if this sounds like your jam, head over, and if you can't share, if you can't back, do please share the link. If you know any Godzilla fans, Biollante fans, Seradian terrorists, botanists, anything like that, if you know any terrorists in your life, please let them know. If you know any geneticists, if you know anybody with
say something,
yeah, anything, just anything at all. So yeah, there you go. That's about it. I'm done begging people for money. But yes, definitely check out Eric.
Well, I guess that just leaves me, which what do I have? Actually, I do have something before I start linking myself. I want to just throw this out there. If you could, everybody, please, I cannot stress this enough. I recently found out that this is probably something that would need to happen to make some other things happen. And I'm going to go all out on this because I can't live a life without more Ultraman. So if everybody listening could please email support@millcreek.com and just let them know how much you've enjoyed their Ultraman DVDs and Blu-rays, how much you like them, the things you would critique on them, maybe an image of your collection, and let them know what you want to see. Let them know you want more because we need to show our support and how much we like their Ultraman stuff to get more. I don't know all the details, but I was told that to get that happening, they need to know. So I'm going to go on a ultra campaign of telling people to please message them. Don't like harass them. Just be nice. Just message them and like old comic books, the mailbag. Just say, "Hey, Mill Creek, thank you for licensing these. These are amazing. If you could send more, if you could make more, that would be amazing. We just want more Ultraman content, more Super Raya content." If enough people do that, a deal probably will be made. But we have to show our support and our love for this stuff to do that. So after the stream, if you guys can, please just email support@millcreek.com. Let them know what you love, let them know what you would critique, and just let them know you want more. So that's my PSA for this stream. If you really want to go support me, I'm on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at ET13 Productions. If you want to listen to my podcast where I'm talking about Takashi Yamazaki movies right now, go check out Kaiju Conversation on any major podcast platform. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram and on Facebook at Kaiju_Converse. And we're currently a weekly show. We're not meant to be weekly. We guarantee one episode a month, but we produce enough content that I think we have earned at least a little bit of respect. So go check us out. We cover a wide range of kaiju, tokusatsu, Japanese horror, giant monster movies, and alike cinema. Now, if you want to support Kaiju Ramen Media, go follow us on Twitter at Kaiju_Ramen or on Instagram. Check out our website, kaijuramenmedia.com, for all of our webpage articles, our podcasting network featuring Kaiju Weekly, Henshin Men, and The Power Trip, a journey through Power Rangers. And you can find all of our past issues on PDF form. And I believe we still have a very, very few select amount of physical copies of issue 9 covering the 90th anniversary of King Kong. So go check that out. Go buy those if you're interested. We have PDFs. And as mentioned prior, pre-orders are now live for issue 10 of Kaiju Ramen Media, Godzilla's Greatest Foes. So with that, I guess there's one last thing to do here, and that's to control the kaiju population. Have your Ultramen spayed or neutered?
Have your 1940s black and white slurposaurs spayed or neutered so that scientifically accurate dinosaurs can roam the earth from here on out. And
Bye,
Ultraman
guys.
2.
And Ultraman 2.
And Ultraman. And on that note,
Bye.
Bye.